Holy crap, that might have been one of the longest times I've ever made you wait. I'm so sorry. How's it going, chat? What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hi. How's it going? D-Rod got in here first today. What's up, dude? MDS Ubuntu, how's it going as well? Aiko, hello, hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, I should say. Big Lacana, what is up, dude? How's it going as well? The Rob White, thank you for the 27 months, man. Thank you for that 27. I'm trying to turn down my freaking TV because I got feedback right now. That's how we get you, man. We just make you not realize you're here. Oh my gosh, I have to buy a new remote. Run a mucker, what's up, dude? How's it going? Hello, hello. US or MDS Ubuntu, don't do any redemptions yet because I gotta fix something. Dang, I really need to figure out how I can credit stuff back. Oh my god, hang on. Sorry about that. Okay, so we do have to fix the server really quickly. You might, if you were in our Discord, you might have noticed that the go live didn't work today. Yeah, I broke it. I broke it this time. But yeah, you can give points back by going to mod view. I am in mod view. What's up, Chris? How's it going? By the way, buddy, how are you? Yo, Rob, thank you for the 27 months, brother. Seriously, thank you, man. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's going well in your side of the world. Thank you for the continued sub, man. 27 months, that's insane. USMC chick, what's up? How's it going? I can't find my seat. Yeah, here, you just make your own. You literally just provision it. It's a resource. Thank you, Alcaeus, for provisioning USMC chick a new chair. Run a mucker, though. How's it going? Hello, hello. Legendary Marvin, what's up, dude? Hours later. It wasn't hours later. It was like 16 minutes. I normally wait 10, but like honestly, today's just been a busy morning, so I've been kind of all over the place trying to catch up and everything. We get chairs. Everybody gets a chair. Yeah, you just make one yourself. You provision it. What's up, Jono? How's it going? Hello, hello. Josh, what's up, dude? I honestly forgot I was in here. I thought I was just jamming to something on YouTube as usual. I already read that, but I still find it funny. But Chris, what's up, dude? How's it going? On the left, there's a redemption queue. A redemption queue. On the left, there's a redemption queue. Redemption queue. I don't seem to have that. Like, I don't know if maybe because, oh, I'm in the stream manager. I'm not in the mod view. I'm in the stream manager. I don't know how different they are, but I think they're slightly different. Redemption. I see review requests queue. And no unban. Whatever. We'll figure it out. It's all good. Yeah. Mod view is different. Yeah. Saturn, what's up? How's it going? Wait, we get chairs? Of course we do. Of course we do. How's it going? Hello, hello. Oh crap! I forget. Hold on. I used to. Hold on. Going through chat. I can remember how to say your name. I can't remember how to say your name. Shit. Remind me how to say your name. I'm sorry. Crosita, how's it going? Hello. Thank you for the 2 months of Prime sub. Thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you for those Bezos Buckies. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Seriously. Thank you guys for the support. We appreciate you. Thank you. Juicy Bit, what's up? How's it going as well? But what's up, everybody? Hopefully you guys are having a good Friday. Le Clown, what is it? Le Clown Foo? Le Clown, that's a good name. Le Clown Foo, how are you? Happy Friday. I want to say it was like Caesar. I can't remember. Anyways, I've been good. It's been a good week. Been a very productive week. Been a busy week. Juicy Bit, thank you for the Prime as well. Thank you, Juicy Bit. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Seriously, thank you though. Seriously, thank you. I hope you guys are again having a good Friday. That was it. The reward request queue. Oh, that was it. C17R. Oh, I thought there was like a weird way of saying it, my dude. My bad. C17R. How's it going? Yeah. I was just trying to make sure I was saying your name right. Because sometimes people come in and I'm like, I'll say it exactly like I read it, and they're like, that's not how you say my name. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Don't overthink it. My life in a sentence. That one right there. Don't overthink it. Now, see, Cian Horn, for example, I know that their name is said that way. Thank you for the gifted sub to Josh. The tier 2 sub. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's very sweet of you. Thank you for the support. Thank you. I'm not good at taking gifts, but I appreciate it. No, seriously, thank you, guys. You literally keep us alive. So thank you for keeping us alive. But yeah, today is going to be a good day. I'm excited. I did a test, all right? For you nerds out there who love comparing and being like, oh, this one's better than this one. All right. I actually did do a comparison the other day that I don't know. I don't even know how much I want to buy into it, right? Because I still can't fully say if all of the pros and cons have truly been weighed out or not. Like, I don't know, man. I really don't know if I feel right about even saying this publicly, just putting it out there, because then I'm going to be worried that I'm just going to get like tons of people coming to me and being like, but BG, you said that this was the best way to do it. And I'm like, ugh. All right. So here's the TLDR. Oh, what's up, Whisper? How's it going? I just finished watching the VOD, friends. You was similar to the guy from yesterday, by the way. How's it going, Whisper? Hello. I just figured out it was like, oh, Chris. I love that Chris tries to find a joke anywhere possible. It's a good writer right there. It's a good writer. I think they double cupped my drink. Oh, they did. I wasn't ready for that. I was not ready for that. All right, so let's talk about the comparison I did. So as you guys know, I really, it's not that I don't have my preference in things that I like. Obviously I do, but I really, really try not to impose or, wow, a magic stream now. Yeah, this is a magic. Oh my gosh, chat. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could do magic? I used to know a little bit of magic. Maybe. Anyways, I was writing some automation. I was writing the automation that we wrote the other day, right? On the last stream in Go, right? For Pulumi. And something that somebody said in chat echoed into the, like, it's so crazy because, like, you guys don't realize, I really don't think you guys realize how much of what you say can, like, just echo into our mindset, especially mine. Like, I definitely, everything you guys say I listen to, and I like, well, it depends. If you're just being stupid, then no. But like, the technical lingo and the technical chats that we have, I always like, let me put it to you this way. I might be immediately like offset of your suggestion sometimes, chat, but you're normally right. And I'll give you that. And I love you for that. I really do. Yo, Cian Horn, thank you for the gifted sub, the tier 1 to V Karasik. Dude, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you. Be sure to thank your gifter if you are able to. Chat is never right. No, but like, I guess what I mean to say is like, new perspective is always good. It may not be a right perspective or a wrong perspective, but it's always good to have new perspective, I think. And while I was writing the automation in Go, somebody basically was like, why are you writing this in Go? And I was like, well, because I like writing Go, right? However, their argument was a very valid one, which is just like, there's a lot of extra writing you have to do in order to achieve the automation that you want to achieve. And it's just because of the pure nature of Go. Like, everything that returns an error, you have to handle that error, basically. Well, you don't have to, but if you don't, your application just kind of like explodes. And so that's why in Go, for example, there's a ton of like if, else, if, or if error, if error, if error, if error, if error. If you've ever written in Go before, you probably know that. And I ran into the same problem. Like, as a matter of fact, here, here, before I go into the code, let me just finish what I'm saying. And like, I ran into that same problem. And so I was like, all right, well, I haven't written enough yet to where it would make it very difficult to rewrite this in any language, in a bunch of different languages. You know what I mean? And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take what that person said, and I'm going to say like, okay, cool. Well, let's test their theory, right? And so I actually did. I took what I wrote and I rewrote it in TypeScript, right? Pulumi and YAML. No, I'm not doing YAML. No, YAML would be too, as a language, YAML would be too simple. Because again, we want to be able to do things like for loops and other things like that, right? DevOps can do magic if any day, especially this like make prod disappear. No. Why would you think I would be doing COBOL? No, not here. But I did try it. And the TLDR is there was an actual I compared the COBOL that I don't disagree with you on that one. That's not a terrible argument. So again, I wrote it in as an experiment. I wrote it in Go and then I wrote it in TypeScript and I compared the two. Now to achieve the same automation, basically line for line, like I didn't even change the logic, right? Like in the scenario of like translation here, I didn't want to change and be like, okay, well, I'm going to make it better, right? Because if you just like completely change how it works, then you can't really compare the two, right? But I actually did it like like function for function, line by line, essentially where I could and where, like the language didn't exist or didn't need it. For example, like Go needed errors, like if error, whereas like TypeScript didn't need it as much, right? Then that would, those would not be included. And so, when I was done, I actually saw a pretty dramatic difference. I was able to achieve the same automation with TypeScript compared to Go and basically save about 40% of code that I had to write. I think it was like 38.9 something or something like that. But basically, I was able to write the same automation in TypeScript and Go, and in TypeScript it was 40% less code. And like this is like determinable differences that can really be noticeable. Yeah, here, I'll show you guys. So here, let's hop into it now. Cool. Okay. All right, so here's what we'll do. Actually, hang on. Never mind. We're right where we needed to be. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to show you the Go version. All right. So we're going to dissect it super quickly. The first thing we have is the command. Now, the command basically only holds one file, and that is the entry point, right? So you can kind of configure you can kind of consider the main.go, right? Oh, wait, no. This is the mailer. My bad. I'm in the wrong one. Worker. There we go. Main.go. You can consider the main.go as like the entry point to the whole application. This is where like the Pulumi run exists, right? And if we look at like just the requirement to setting up Pulumi and Go, we just need this, right? We just need Pulumi run and then all of our resources wrapped inside of that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just comparing this to the TypeScript version. Now, you asked, is it comparable? Now, let me show you and you tell me if you think that the only difference between the two is that I'm actually adding nunjucks. So if we look at this is 27 lines just to write this. And essentially, again, they're pretty much identical. Like, again, they have, same entry point, same wrap, that you don't need a wrapper in the TypeScript one versus in Go, you do need this Pulumi run wrapper, right? So the wrapper's not needed. That's one thing that's immediately different. And then another thing that's a big call out is you don't need the error handler, right? Here, it's just a class that you create. If we didn't include the nunjuk stuff, which is just basically Jinja templating, right? 16 lines, almost 15 lines probably, because we'd get rid of this line too. So 1, 2, 3, right? 15 lines. Whereas here, everything here is pretty much required. There's actually no, now again, hold on. Before I just rustle all of your nerd feathers here, chill. I haven't read what you've said yet, Whisper. I understand all of the technical advantages of disadvantages. I'm simply just going through it what I observed, okay? So as a scientist experimenting, yes, I'm very aware a lot of people are going to have opinions on the fact that I'm comparing lines right now. Chill. We'll get there. Don't worry, okay? I'm not just being like, yo, well, it's just lines. That's fine. I'm going to compare a lot of things. Lines is just one of them. So before I go further, let me just finish what I'm about to say, and then I'll read what you wrote, Whisper. So as I said, right, when we try comparing it, I really do want to try and be unbiased, and there is like a significant difference here, and the biggest significant difference here is that we're talking about something that has like a class-based language, right, that can easily create things that are repeatable and repeatable and repeatable and like that's the point of classes. Let's be clear, okay? So we're talking about something that's an object-oriented, like class-based language, right? And then we're talking about a language that's really purely more so, you know, it functional in a lot of ways, where it's step by step, right? And it's strictly typed as well, right? So on the left side, all we're really caring about is what we need, right? There's no, and again, this is where nerds calm down. I'm trying to compare with real unbiased. I think most of us can kind of agree that in just pure syntax and writing, right, there's less that needs to be done in TypeScript, just again, because yes, it's under the hood, whatever argument you want to have, that's fine. Now, when I'm thinking about this, right, I'm simply thinking about time, ease of maintainability, right, as well as like a lot of other things. Exactly. So, okay, so cool. Okay. I read a little bit of what Grilla said. I read a little bit about what Whisper said. I think we're kind of getting where I want to be now, right? So that's the first thing that kind of struck me, just comparing these two almost identical things alone, right? Is, okay, cool. We've got one that's very verbose, very strict, right? And then we've got one that does, again, as the language provides, allows us to be a bit more off the cuff, or just like we can just, okay, let's move. Bam. We don't need to care about some of those things, right? And again, another thing I really want to point out here within the Go comparison to the TypeScript comparison is purely that because we have a strictly typed language, which is not a bad thing. Okay. Not saying it's a bad thing. I love Rust. I'm a fan of Rust, as well as other strictly typed languages. However, here, it does kind of beg the question of, do we need it? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Do we care about just having good linting, or, being able to at least have some type of types, right? Whereas like Python, you really wouldn't have any types there. And so maybe it's a little bit more of like, you see what I'm saying? So like now we're kind of like in this water of like hot, medium, and cold, where maybe like Python is really cold because that's too loose, right? Whereas maybe TypeScript is more, right? It's like bowling with bumpers, right? You could still miss, right? You could still miss every single pin, but you're at least not going into the gutter, right? And then like Go is like, okay, no bumpers, but like you hit the ball almost every time, right? So like that's kind of what's all in my head now. So let me read what Whisper said. Yeah, but about Go, I want to ask a question. If you want to write a module and have it get used by other teams, is it easier to make it available since Go pulls it basically from the Git repo as to having it written in TypeScript and needing a package? So Whisper, that's a fair point, right? Like I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Like, okay, well, let's talk about like reusability and like a development ecosystem, right? My only argument to that, however, would be here. I'm going to start pinning questions I'm reading. I think with regards to this question, like, I think it's important to note that, like, this is a different problem, so we can either solve it within this problem or we can solve it somewhere else. And I would like to say, or hope, as like an organization, we would separate that problem and solve it differently. So it's just like, well, we will figure out how distribution works best for us, I guess is what I mean to say, more than like if that should be a deciding factor. Because honestly, I could see a lot of good things with Go. I can also see a lot of bad things with Go. Like versioning with Golang, you'd have to use Go modules, right? You'd have to use Go modules. For sure, you'd have to use Go modules. And then you'd also have to have a pretty good understanding of how to write libraries in Go. Not writing applications in Go and then building them and, making them to a CLI tool or something like that. We're talking about building libraries in Go that are, reinstallable everywhere, that have like unit tests and all these other things. Because then it also asks the question, well, would you rather do unit testing in Go or would you rather do unit testing in TypeScript? And to be honest with you, I hate Jest. So that's a good argument as to why not to use TypeScript, honestly. But anyways, we'll move forward right now. So, okay, like I said, again, we're just simply comparing what we kind of see in front of us after writing the two. And the biggest thing for me was, okay, I see where, I know there's so many, and to be honest with you, Griffin, I'm going to be evaluating a new one. Hang on. Okay. The biggest thing that stood out to me is just really the verbosity, right? Again, the needing to be able to make sure that the error is handled, the needing to make sure that our types are strictly typed. And then the one other thing that was kind of a bit of a bummer was Java or Go is like, I've had this argument with people before, so anybody out there who uses Go, just hear me out, okay? Go has some intricities with JSON, all right? Yes, I know JSON Marshal exists. I've used it many times. However, what you might not be aware of is that JSON Marshal doesn't handle everything perfectly. If you have nested arrays, for example, Go does not know how to interpolate those. So it will just set values to nil. There are ways of getting around it, but it's extra work that is challenging and annoying. That was something else I ran into as well. And that was actually one of the big things that kind of sparked this was I was like, oh man, like I got to figure out how to set this array inside of this array. And then in the future, I got to figure out how to do that for everything. And so I was just like, okay, maybe this isn't exactly where I want to be. So yeah, that's when I first started thinking about all of this stuff. Again, is it a deal breaker? No, not necessarily. Again, there's ways of getting around it, but I don't know how often I want to trip over my automation. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's go to the next thing. So this is the main entry point. And again, this isn't much of a big difference here. 18 versus 27. It's just like 10 lines. And again, outside of the verbosity of the types here, right? And here, and like here, and here, right? Like you can kind of see, like this whole line isn't needed in TypeScript. This isn't needed in TypeScript. This isn't needed in TypeScript. These are needed. Those are arguments. This isn't needed. I mean, it would be good to have it if it was there, but again, inferred as well. Okay, so let's go to the actual component now. So this is where things get a little interesting. So if we go to resource worker, now we compare the two. In Go, we have a little bit of tooling we have to do to actually create a component because Go has no concept of classes, right? It has the concept of types, but it doesn't have the concept of classes, at least in the same sense that like JavaScript would. And because we're not able to use classes, we have to use types as a way of like inheriting attributes to make it a resource. And so what we have to do first and foremost is that we have to create a struct that inherits all of the Pulumi resource state and everything like that. And so that's what this first struct is. Now, you can use other things with this struct if you want to, but realistically, this is mostly there just to create the resource state and bind it to your struct so you can use it for your component. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here because I want to talk about the registration process as well. Because on the left-hand side, we're using Go, Pulumi requires us to run like first instantiate the actual variable using the worker struct that we just created, right? And then we register that. So we actually have to register that component and then handle that error. The only thing we really have to do in the TypeScript side of things is, again, extend the class because it's a class, and then basically create our constructor. There's not too much of a difference here because we still have to do the super, right? And that's kind of the equivalent of like the register component resource. However, I will say I like this a little bit better because you just don't need that extra struct that really is just there for holding resource state. I do like that this kind of becomes like a isolated component that can kind of go anywhere. Whereas what we're really doing in the Go side is we're making a structure and then we're making a function that can create that structure. But what we can do in TypeScript, again, because we're using classes, we can actually like hold state inside of that class itself. We can add methods to that class too. And again, some of those things you can even do with Go, but verbosity becomes a challenge again. So then we say stack, which again, we do the same thing here, stack. We set up the dead letter prefix, which is pretty much the same. One thing to note, and this will be like another thing between Go and, like TypeScript, for example. Go doesn't have, pure string interpolation, right? It requires you to use like, sprintf or some kind of formatter for you to inject that. Whereas in TypeScript, we can actually just use pure string interpolation. So here, there's no need to like import another library and like do these things. So again, when we talk about writing the automation, there is verbosity, but we have to kind of say like, is it where we we want it to be, right? And I will say that like the error handling is a bit where one of this is like also sticks out to me, where it's like, if I could just have something naturally write those errors and handle that for me, that is nice. You know what I mean? What we want is something that's just like off the shelf things. And Go kind of gets us there with like an off the shelf worker function that creates that for us, right? But for example, if we wanted the workers to also have like other methods or things like that on it, it becomes a little bit easier because it's all inside of its own class, right? And maintaining all of its own class state and everything like that. Anyways, these are just things I'm thinking out loud. The biggest one still hands down is just the verbosity. I digress. Let's keep moving forward. So again, dead letter prefix is basically the same. The args is basically the same. And then the queue is basically the same. There's a couple differences here again. We don't need the extra variables for the resource names, right? We can just string interpolate them directly, right? So there's no need for this line. Which here I can move over here, right? Like this is the resource name. We don't need to do this because we can just string interpolate it directly, which is nice, right? Again, this is pretty much the same. However, you'll notice that again, due to that strictness, we have to make sure that we convert it to a Pulumi string, whereas here we could just use any string that we want and it'll take care of it for us. So again, verbosity, really. Moving down. Right, same thing. Now we do a queue prefix here. But again, we still don't need a different library to do it. I think the only reason why I did the queue prefix here was just because it was a long line. And I was trying to stay consistent with the two. But realistically, this could just be interpolated directly in line. I mean, this could be too. But again, because it's more libraries and stuff we need, I don't know. Again, I'll let you be the judge. So yeah, here's an if statement where we basically say if length is this. Now this is where things get a little weird, okay? And this is another thing I want to show to you guys is like, this is where JavaScript really does kind of shine a little bit, or TypeScript shines a little bit, right? It knows how to handle JSON and you know, objects and things like that very, very well. In Go, if we want to make sure that we marshal to the right data that we need, we need to make sure that we type it, right? And so this is technically, this attribute here is technically, what I'm trying to say is like unformatted data, because this is like a query almost. We're querying, or I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, this is for the ARN, my bad. No. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something else. I'll show it to you later. But with this, it still needs to be typed, right? Because Marshall needs to know what attributes it's typing to, right? So basically all of this here is just something that we really don't need in TypeScript, because again, it naturally is pretty well supported with everything we would need. So, you know, again, if we look at the left, we can see it's a lot more straightforward. We just say qarg 3drive policy. We have to do the same apply, right? So that's still here no matter what. Although again, the other ones, it's pretty much the same. But then again, this is where we don't really have to do anything. We don't have to marshal or stringify or anything, because again, TypeScript just knows I'm going to take this object and I'm going to stringify it. Basically, it's a JSON string. Again, verbosity. So we'll go to the new queue. New queue is pretty much the same, right? But because we have the ability to, again, keep the variable name small and things like that, have less verbosity. These are, you know, smaller definitions, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just doing this more for cleanliness than anything, I guess. All right, so let me show you the last thing here, and then we'll move forward. Okay. So after we create our two queues, yo, congrats, Standard Robot. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Congrats on the Security Plus exam. Hell yeah, dude. Were you nervous, or were you like, okay, we got this? But congrats, man. So yeah, so the last thing we're going to talk about is the event rules. Now, the main point I want to give you guys here is that this is why this became really challenging right here. So for every event pattern, we have to provide what is called a detail. Or we don't have to, but we want to. Now, this detail is completely unstructured, meaning it depends on what we are listening for, what event we're listening for. Oh, let me unpin this. It depends on what event we're listening for the relative like piece of data. So for example, the source event that we're looking for here is an AWS S3 event. It's object created, but then we're saying in the detail, we want you to only do it for Quark media file, right? And we actually want to provide it as an array, because an array means that we can provide multiple buckets to potentially check against, right? But again, the problem here is like this cannot be typed as just one thing. It's going to be typed as many things depending on what event and resource we are listening for. And so this is a scenario where this is mostly just going to be JSON stringified and shoved into the configuration. And so this is where I really started having problems too, because like I said, when I would try stringifying like nested arrays in this case, it just wouldn't work. It would set it to nil, and apparently it's just not something Go is really good at doing. I've done a lot of research on it. You're more than welcome to do your own research on it. But it's all around, I guess, how, again, Go interpolates JSON and then like parses the types and things like, or parses types and things like that. I fell into a GitHub issue hole and then came out the other end basically being like, okay, this is going to be a problem. So again, weighing in the verbosity, right? Weighing in the little challenge or the little extra steps that are required to getting it to work. I don't know. I want to be fast with this. I don't want to be dealing with this too much. And I have actually had a very good experience, at least writing my automation in TypeScript. I'm not saying that I would write everything in it at all. However, when you think about automation and what problem it solves, if we go back to what Gorilla said earlier, and I'm going to pin this now because I'm finally catching up. It's really important for automation that you do a task as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible, right? And I don't know if I disagree. Like, I think I agree, right, with what he's saying or what they're saying a bit, because most of the times when I need to go to my automation, it's just like copy, paste, we're good to go, right? Because I want to move very quickly. I mean, that's another reason why Terraform and HCL is so powerful. So are you giving this is the question I'm really giving yourself, or giving to you, chat, which is, are you really efficiently automating if your automation intrinsically takes a bit more time because of things you have to do with it, right? Like, automation is just about trying to move as quickly as possible. And so that's really when I was like, all right, you know what? I think I'll try this. No, wrong. Okay. Hit me. Bean. Let's argue. Let's hit it, dude. Let's get into it. I mean, the reality of it is it's all use case. I think your definition of automation is weird. Give me better give me better suggestions. So we're not talking about, okay, so hold on though. In the terms of arguments of saying, okay, hold on. Automation is just automating. Sure, but we're talking about something that has to be continually grown upon as well, right? Automating and just making something once that goes away, that's, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. But I do not agree that if you're taking, and you're, like, say, for example, you have 100 developers who are constantly adding to a repository because they're creating new resources, creating new services, things like that. That's not the same as just automating. That's also maintaining. And that has its own scope of challenges with it. And that's what I'm arguing here. I'm not arguing that if you write it once and you solve it, you're done. That's sure. That's like one loop automation. But what I'm talking about, yeah. So guys, that's why I'm saying, like, before we get all crazy here, let's remember context is important. What I'm trying to say is like, in the scenario where I need to go back to this repository because I need to fix something or I need to add something, like, when we talk about it that way, that's when it's like, okay, every time I go into this repository, do I want to write an if error statement? You know what I mean? Just to create a resource. Like, think about that. Terraform is better in that experience, in that regard, because Terraform is just copy, paste, config, you're done. And in my opinion, automation is really well served when it's configuration based, right? When it's declarative. And if you're doing more things to declare, like, that's my argument, is like, if I'm having a repository that users are using all the time, right? They're taking resources off the shelf and every time they declare those things, every time they create those things, like, what's more valuable? Like, that's all I'm asking you. That's all I'm asking you. And, like, I'm not saying I'm happy that TypeScript's the thing that's coming out on top here, okay? Like, I love Go. Like, it's just like, if I'm going to sit here and really look at it, I'm curious of what it is. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. But I am interested in challenging my experiment, or my hypothesis. But I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that if it's something you're just going to write once and you're never going to touch it again, or you're going to maintain it like once every 6 months, yeah, that's absolutely no problem. But, like, I create repositories, but, like, just because we have such a microservice approach, like, I create repositories every couple days. And it's been really easy to just go into my automation, copy and paste a class, paste it, done, and not be super worried about anything else. And again, that's what I think makes HCL powerful because that's what we use at Hippo. Anyways, maintaining the automation comes to play too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, you can have a function that takes state indicating if an error occurred, what executed an error, if an error. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Like that's so like, okay, you're not wrong, Jono. You're not wrong. How much of a curve does that have to maintainability? I think is my best question I can ask. Because we have both solutions sitting here. Like I can go with either one right away. You know what I mean? But I am curious to ask the question. Like, okay, everybody, for a second, all of you guys who are like in the same pace with me again, here with me, think about this. Take this idea, this repository on the left, this automation repository, right? And blow that mamma jamma up to like 100 resources, 200 resources. What do you think this would look like? Is it, a function being reused over and over and over and over and over and over and over? How's the error handling? You know what I mean? Like that's, because like I can see what HCL looks like, which is it's just a huge file of declarations, right? And I can see what TypeScript looks like, which is a huge file of declarations and some types, or maybe some types. And then I think Go would just be a bunch of declarations, but also a lot of verbosity. And that's where I'm like, do I want that? Right? I know, Jono, dude, I'm in the same boat of just confused. See, this is why I don't compare things, because when I compare things, I don't get the one that I wanted. The universe is always like, yeah, but this is the right way. And I'm like, damn it. Depends on the developer. I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, like, here's the thing. If you were in a shop that was entirely Go based, right? Then maybe this is easy, right? Like yeah. We're just having fun, thought experimenting. So I appreciate you guys. I want to shout out again, Bean, Tritus, all of you guys who shared your opinions and stuff. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Really. I'm always nervous about having these kind of talks, but I'm always excited when we do. Ask ChatGPT. Yeah. Oh, dude, maybe we should. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that. I think that would be a fun thing. I would like to know what the robot god thinks. Yeah, there it is. Okay. What is more important with DevOps automation? Well, no, that seems like that's too biased of a question. I want something that's less biased. So, okay. Then it would have to have experience. So I don't think it would. So when writing automation in languages, which saves more time for, I don't feel like it would know this, dude, for ongoing maintainability. I feel like I don't feel like this one could be answered. Go or TypeScript. Like I feel like this is just I feel like this is super one. Like I don't know. We'll see. Okay, here we go. Thank you, ChatGPT. All right, both Go and TypeScript can be used to write Plumie automation code, and both languages have their own advantages and disadvantages. Ultimately, the choice is even the robot's like, I ain't jumping in that race. Here are some factors that help you decide which language to use. Familiarity, right? Of course. Yeah, it depends, right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Familiarity, right? Like I said, and I said that literally right before we asked the bot, right? I was like, if you're a Go house, whole shop, probably easy. Oh, good question. Yeah, we'll ask that one next. That's a good one. Okay, so let me read through this. If you're already familiar with one of the languages, so here's the thing, I'm familiar with both. I'm not, I really do think I've gotten to the point now with Go where I can pretty much make almost anything I need to, which I think that is where you're cruising. When you get to that point in a language where you're like, you feel confident enough to create pretty much anything you need. You know what I mean? So this one for me, it's null, right? Like these, I know I'm familiar with both. This really doesn't help me much at all. Performance. Go is generally faster than TypeScript, especially when it comes to compiling code. If performance is a key, okay. I'm writing a technical document. Hold on. Okay. So we're going to call this document maintainable automation, right? And we're going to say that the problem is we have automation that we want to continuously add to and maintain over an extended period of time, right? But no solution for long-term language. We'll say that, right? So the robot says that some of the factors, God, dude, friggin' ChatGPT, man. Yeah, ChatGPT, man. So the first one is familiarity. Yeah, familiarity, right? So how well do you know the language, right? For me, both are known well and long-term experience maintaining. Which I have more experience with TypeScript, but it's fine. Every time you say the robot, I make note of it and report it to the other bots. We keep an eye on you. That's fine. I keep an eye on you too. How you like me now, Mr. Robot Overlord? Yeah, I can keep my eye on you too. I ain't going down like other humans, man. If you robots coming after me, you're coming after me and you get in a fight. You're going to have a landmines of viruses and worms and other things you're going to have to get through before you get to me. Sorry. Funny. What advice would you give a junior dev? Oh, wait, sorry, my bad. Somebody said something earlier about DevOps. DevOps feels so daunting to get learning. Just a whole lot of YAML files. Tips for getting started. It's a good question. I get it a lot. One of the things I will say is be sure to check out my front-end master's course. I literally did make a course that I think is a really good way to get started with DevOps. It gives you a good introduction to the mindset of what it takes to be in DevOps, the kind of experience as well. But I think a lot of it does have to do with experience. I'm going to be clear. I don't know if you can just like go into DevOps if you've never worked in the engineering game before. The biggest reason why is because like we are the janitors. Like we really are. Like it's not a cool, fun, well, I mean, it's a fun role. I love my role, but it's not like it's a really thankless, mostly because where have you ever gone to a company and you've liked your admins? Like that's what we are. We are the admins, right? And constantly do I have people, probably pretty mad at me because I have to basically be like, no, we do things the right way. That's why we can have nice things, and yeah, like, I said this on another stream before, a lot of what I do is about like, oh, no, I said this earlier, my bad, is about being wholly right, not egally right or self-serving right, but to be like wholly right, like holistically, you know what I mean? Like entirely right for the problem, not for you. And you like that, like thank you, objectively right. That's a better way of putting it. Thank you. I'm terrible with words sometimes. But yeah, objectively right. And like, this is like this scenario right here. No, no, not like that. Not like that. This scenario here is a good example of that, where if I was in charge of 100 developers, Think about it. Like put your brain in like the DevOps hat for a world. You really want to know what DevOps is? This is DevOps right here. I have 100 developers that I'm about to create automation for. Let's make sure I don't piss them off. Like that's the challenge of DevOps, really, across the board, right? We're going to change something. Okay, let's make sure we don't piss off make sure expectations are set. And that comes with experience, you know. I can go to pretty much any company. Like, I'll be real with you. Like, if I went to like Facebook and brought down Facebook, I'd probably get fired, but I probably would not like I'd be like, whatever, dude. Like, you know what? It happened. Like, it happens. Like, you know, obviously that would suck, but it is what it is. Like, you do the best job you can. That's really the best way of looking at it. Yeah, you probably get, only if it was exactly. And that's like the other part of it is like you have enough experience in the game to where you kind of realize like they're not really gonna, you know, they're not really gonna, like, you're not really gonna get in trouble. It's just experience. So, you know, I think like being in the, I can safely say that changing stuff without pissing people off is impossible. Okay, there you go. So you're already in a good place. You're already in a good place for DevOps. The other part is technical. And you know what's funny is like when I did my course, I remember talking to somebody about it, and they were like, is it a little too talky? Like you do a lot of talking in the beginning of the thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's because that's half of my job. Like half of my job is talking to people, setting expectations, making sure good documentation is out there, making sure people are prepared for changes that are to come. Like literally half. And like, I'm going to be real with you. Like I did that also partially to like make like it's a test. Like if you can get through the monotony of DevOps, and there's like, it's like there's like the monotony is just like the low haze that you kind of see, that everyone kind of sees. What a lot of people don't see is like once you get it's like the Matrix. Like once you get above that haze, there's so many cool things you get to do, right? Like I can create infrastructure on any scale, anytime I want, just to test something. You know, I get to look at problems and answer them the way I'd like to answer them. You know, and yeah, like that's the really cool side of it. Not a lot of like I won't build features. I don't enjoy building features because I don't like being told like this is exactly the way we want it. This is it, you know. That's another side of DevOps is, you know, taking what you know and in your experience and improving basically from your experience. So yeah, I think you need a few years, you know, 5 years of experience is probably really good. You're actually probably set to start jumping into the DevOps field then. Worship the sofa. Honestly, if you're 5 years in, you like real talk, dude, you could probably go almost anywhere and well, maybe not anywhere, but you could probably go to most places and be like, hey, I've been in the game for 5 years. You know, I have a good experience with and you know, I want to get into DevOps. Like they may just give you the job. Like honestly, like just because it's not great hiring right now for DevOps. Not many people want to do this job. Not many people want to sit down and actually try and scientifically break down a hypothesis on if automation is written better in TypeScript or Go. And then writing a technical document on it so that you can easily share it with the rest of your company. Like there's just a specific level of crazy you have to be to do that. So yeah, I appreciate the question. Join a community as well. Like join our community. We have a obviously pretty DevOps centric community because most of it's DevOps focused. Do you prefer working at a big size company or a small company? You know what's funny is you can go to a small company and make a ton of money, but the problems they deal with may suck in the sense of like you're building a lot from scratch. And if you like being a foundation builder, which I do too, like I enjoy it too, right? That's great. However, when it's a startup, you're also like Naruto running while trying to pick up things you're simultaneously dropping. And that just does not really allow for clear thought. It's the easiest way I can put it. I have a friend who offered me an interview at a company that he works at. Now, this friend I highly recommend or highly regard. And you know, I would be like, all right, well, anywhere he works would definitely be a great place for me to work. And I looked at it, and I went, like, I talked to them a little bit, and I talked to him a little bit about it too, and he was like, well, you know, like, we don't really have time for technical documents or anything right now. Like, we're just moving really fast. Like I don't, you know, like, people want something to just get it. And I'm like, so you mean you just give people what they want? And he's like, yeah, for right now at least, yeah. And I'm like, okay, but isn't that like that's a lot of technical that you're gonna deal with later, right? Like an infrastructure and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, no, we know, but like we'll deal with it later. And I'm just like, that does not sound like fun from a DevOps position, because you know, like, that is where yeah, exactly. You're basically raw dog in DevOps. Like you really are. You're just basically saying, I need a bucket. You can't ask the question why, right? And at massive companies that already have that set in place, like, I hate to be like a corporate sellout here. It's nice. It's nice. Yeah, you know, because I get to think. I don't have to be worried about the whole company going over or going under, at least as much, by tomorrow. So I think I actually like working at much larger companies. Yeah. I think it's great, you know, and I think startups can be a lot of fun. But again, there's also like other things you don't know. You don't know if it's going to work. You don't know if your job will be there tomorrow because you don't know how much runway you have. If you've ever worked at a company with like runway before, or like angels, as they call them, VCs, like all that kind of stuff, like it's, oh God, it's just a nightmare. Anyways, so yeah, that's that. Anywho, by the way, by BG, the Packer stuff you were doing last week, I raised it to my boss if we can swap ECG, and we're currently doing now. Hey, very cool, dude. Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, I genuinely think Packer's a good solution. I really, like, I do try and only share stuff with you guys that, like, I think would help. So I'm really glad to hear that. I hope it works. Like, I really do. Let me know. Let me know what, you know, how the migration goes and stuff. I'm excited to hear that. I really also hope that, like, it just makes life easier for you. Yeah. So sounds like I had a blank check since we were moving to a new platform. I was over and I mean, that's cool. That's good. CN Horn, though, were you at a startup though too, or was this just like, all right, we want to start from scratch? All right. So again, maintainable automation, right? You were at a startup. Okay. Oh, wow. Hell yeah. I mean, it's not always that way. Like, sometimes startups are built by like companies or by like engineers who like have been in the game for a long time, and they're like, no, we're going to do it right this time. That time you get lucky. I just haven't had that luck. So I guess luck is, you know, going to be a big factor in it too. So familiarity with regards to writing automation, at least, or, you know, language-based automation, I know both of them pretty well. So performance, right? Now, performance in this regard is really just going to be around compiling time. Or compiling / transpiling time, right? With Go, you only build once. Whereas with TypeScript, you really have to transpile, at least for Pulumi, every time you run. So technically, Go outperforms TypeScript by default because it builds to binary once and can be reused without recompile, right? TypeScript requires transpile with each run by Pulumi to generate the resources, or to generate resources, right? So this adds, this adds more to runtime per job, or per, I guess, like Pulumi run, right? Does this really matter? I don't know. I don't really think this matters too much, right? Now, if this was like a massive, massive repository, then maybe I could see that being annoying. Performance, though, right now is really not a big concern. So I think performance is something that like we can kind of like let over. Syntax. This is what we really, really need to compare, right? And so syntax is basically ease of maintainability, I guess, maybe like ease of writing, maybe ease of writing code, right? So with syntax, TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. Oh, and see performance. I'm not even reading this. My bad. I'm not even reading this. So Go is generally faster than TypeScript, especially when it comes to compiling code. If performance is a key consideration of your Pulumi automation, then Go may be a better choice, right? And that's what we said, that Go outperforms TypeScript technically here, right? So the first one, equal, right? Second one, Go actually gets it. So syntax, right? TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. It makes it easier to learn and write code if you're already familiar with JavaScript. Go, on the other hand, has a syntax more similar to C and may be easier for developers who are familiar with that language. So I guess the easiest way we could put it is TypeScript is easier to write if you are familiar with JavaScript, right? JavaScript. Go is more, or is easier to write if you are familiar with C. Yeah, no, I agree with that. So here I'm genuinely wondering if wait, okay, so tooling. Here I'm wondering if there's anything else we should add to this. I'm not a DevOps or parent, but the company is so the IT restricted so much they inhibit maybe to build a solution. It makes me want a smaller company. Yeah, bigger companies are also challenges, right? Didn't you just repeat the familiarity point? I mean, again, it is ChatGPT, so that's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like we need to add something else to this, because, like, these kind of just, like, these basically 1 and 3 are null. 2 is a little bit better, just be a little, like, Go's just like it's not enough. It's in the words of Spock, it's you know, it's a nominal nominal difference. It's not much. Not significant enough to make it really a challenge. Like right now, based off of these 3 and what we see, it's really just preference. I'm just wondering if there's any way of injecting or removing preference with a comparison between Go and TypeScript with Pulumi. Does performance matter since it's allowing? No, it really doesn't. That's what we're saying, Whisper. We're saying that it doesn't really matter. How much does speed, in the runtime perspective? None. The only speed we're really trying to compare here is the speed between maintainability over a period of time. Again, if I have like 100 developers and I want them, I want them to be able to quickly grab these off the shelf, is it easier would we think, hundreds of these, and tons of resources, do we think that would be better maintainable in Go or TypeScript? That's just kind of like what we're talking about here. We're not saying one's better than the other. We're just wondering if we feel like which one is better, or which one would be easier, not better, easier. Yeah. For maintainability, would you want to optimize that? Well, that's kind of what we're asking, right? Stupak is like, least amount of lines of code, because if that's the case, obviously TypeScript's going to win there, just because Go's a bit more verbose. Maybe we can say requires less to write, right? And then maybe like requires more verbosity. Do we feel like this is okay to say? Do we feel like this is okay to say without being biased? Like, can we all agree that TypeScript does in fact require less to write than Go? Well, that's the grading criteria we're doing right now. We're the grading criteria is familiarity, performance, syntax, tooling, and maintenance. So that is like we are going through the criteria right now. Let's not talk about distributables, okay? So I don't want to include package managers at all because, to be fair, Go package manager is also trash as well as NPM. Like it's not at like they both. You could argue about both for hours, is what I'm trying to say. And Go and TypeScript are the only options just at the moment, right? Because when you're doing an experiment, you don't want to have a third variable, right? So I think what we should probably do is we should at least look at this experiment, see what we get out of it, right? And then experiment with another set of, languages. Like, I'm not against that. But I really would like to try and, at least in my super perfectionist, over analytical mind, I would like to know the answer to this. Because then I know I could go to a company of like this is DevOps. What I'm literally about to say to you right now is DevOps. I am making, like, think about this, chat. I'm giving myself the knowledge and the education to where now I can confidently, somewhat confidently at least, go to the company and be like, this is what we've weighed, this is what I've seen, and this is what I think may be best for us, right? And I'm not saying that I would have an answer right away, but what the best part of, again, understanding and asking this question and why this is very intrinsic to DevOps is the experience allows us to answer these questions in the future better, right? If this is a question I've really never asked myself, right? I've basically just written, I've just basically written it in the language I wanted, right? I started with HCL because I was using Terraform, and then I moved to JavaScript because I was writing in AWS CDK, and then I moved to TypeScript when I started using Pulumi, and then I started using Go. I've not really had a real educated, I'm going to sit down and break down what is actually better and when it's better and when it's not, So that's kind of why I'm sitting here with you guys, because you guys are a bunch of engineers that are also brilliant. And, we can ask these questions together and have a consensus, a consensus of, what we would agree upon. Readability. Okay, let's talk about ease of readability and I guess writing of code. Writing code. Yeah. Brilliant. Debatable. Yeah. So then here's a question. Which do we think is more readable? We're engineers. I mean, I consider you to be. You might not actually be. I hope, I don't know. All right. I'm just going to ask this. How do we gauge which is more readable in the terms of automation, right? Like, we have a comparison right here, side by side, right? So if we go back to, let's go to the index again. Let's look at the two indexes to make it simple, right? Out of these two, which do we feel is more readable? And here, I'm going to make a poll. Right here, actually, let's do this. There. Yeah. It's there we go. Vote. You get 2 minutes. Which is more readable? Sorry, it took me a second to create the poll. I'm going to give you guys a second. Let me go heat up my coffee. Oh, wow. Yeah, what's up, Alias? Readability will improve with familiarity too. I don't disagree. I don't know Go, TS or Go, but I vote Go or vote TS. Sorry. TS looks easier to read because it is short, but when I see a slice of string or a slice of worker, I know I'm expecting it. Okay. I'm a Go man at heart, but I have to admit in this example, TS is much easier to read. Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing is like we can compare more stuff. Like, let's do it. I'm down. Let's go to resource. I made a component, right? Like, let's look at the component here, right? Like here, we'll put these side by side. So if we just look at like the pure class definitions at the top, here's the class definitions. I'd say this is pretty much the same for me, right? Like these type definitions are pretty much the same. I don't really think there's too much of a difference there, right? I don't think that's really, I mean, the JSON stuff is a little bit like what, but you know, it is what it is. That's not that big of a deal. This is not too bad. You know, this is a little confusing, I guess. But then like once we start kind of getting into here, I don't know. Like I feel like I can read both. Again, one, because I know Go, but I do feel like TypeScript's easier on the eyes. Yeah. Like I love Go, man. I'm not trying to be too like I think what I like about it, at least in the sense of like automation, is like everything's very clearly easy to understand what it's doing. You know? And I would say that a lot of that is still here with Go too. But there's just a little more, you know? That it's just like Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've basically said that for readability, this TS is easier. We'll say most times, not all the time, right? Why not use both? Are you trying to do global infrastructure or per service? We are using both. We do use both. We're just having a thought experiment. That's literally all we're doing, Wolf Dude. We're just having a thought experiment. We're asking the question in the off chance that we find ourselves in the scenario so that we can answer it easily without having to go down that road. Right? Is the error check required? Yes, it is. Yeah. Once you instantiate something as a value you want to return, like you could do this. Or is it going to require me to... Yeah, so you could do that, right? Because then you're basically just telling Go, just run. I don't care about what it returns. But once you tell Go that you want to return something, you have to... and it returns an error. Right? Like somebody earlier... Thank you for the follow. Somebody earlier was like, why don't you just create like a nomad or a monad or, you know, something like that, you know, or you could even do it with like channels, I don't know, or something like that. You could, but then you'd have to know, like, okay, this is how we do error handling. Make sure you send it over the channel. Like, don't make sure you don't interrupt the thread. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's more Go stuff than it is like just writing automation, you know? And what I really want with my automation is like a language, but also a configuration, right? I want something I can easily make and define, but then I also really want it to be as simple as possible. Yeah, I think the only other big difference between the two for me is like the width, right? It's like TypeScript's just not as beefy, right? Like I told you guys, I really tried to keep this as one-to-one as possible. And I think the other scenario here is again, just that verbosity of like dead letter config, you have to pass it the class or the struct, right? So that it knows how to, you know, give what, you know, attributes it needs. Whereas like in TypeScript, you just don't have to do that, you know? You just go, boop, done, right? Because it's all typed into the specific type definition. So maybe, okay. But I think maybe this is a good argument. Requires more individual pieces to build. Can we all agree on that? I think that's fair. I think Go has more verbosity and requires more individual pieces to build. I think with TypeScript, because it's so class oriented and everything is just like, again, a part of the class, I don't know. Yeah, no, listen, it's okay. Like I said, we're just thought experimenting. I do think that this is kind of fair. Go also has errors that don't really matter in infra. No. Yeah, I mean, you will be handling, I mean, technically no, because a seg fault in a Go program is the same thing as a seg fault in a TypeScript program, or, you know, like, if you instantiate a class wrong, it'll still do a failure. Like, that still happens. Go just makes you handle it. That's the biggest difference, is like Go makes it so that if you have an error that you have to handle, you have to write it. Like, you can't just skip it. The compiler will not make you do it. Or what we could say is requires and hope for the best. Well, no, again, I'm not. I have the answer. It's TypeScript. I've already looked at the docs too. No, I got the same vibe as well. Go towards the end. What is it? Wait, I'm looking here. Oh, go at the end. I see. Yeah, they didn't really rank that alphabetically, did they? That's hilarious. Yeah, there may be a little bit of biasness in this list. Like, as somebody who writes docs, you know what I mean? And I'm sure it's like a bunch of you guys, as we all read docs, you ever like read a doc and kind of go like, I don't think they really want me to use this. You know what I mean? Okay. Python is an interesting one. Yeah, so that was another argument. So like people, we were just saying earlier, like, well, is Go and TypeScript the only two languages? No, actually, technically, I would include Python into this. I really would. And the biggest reason for that is because I actually think Python is the better of almost all of the worlds. Python, you don't have to restrict the types at all, right? Python, you don't have to do extra error handling at all as well, right? You just move really. Yeah, again, it's just the other parts of Python that make it really, really annoying. Yeah, so like that's why I said, like, I think Python is all the way to the extreme of like, I want a language, right? But I want to move as quickly as possible. Right? Like, that's what I think Python really is there for. I think you go .NET, dog. .NET, you're just in a whole other world. Yeah, dude, look into Pulumi. Again, this is why we're asking these questions. You know what I mean? So it definitely looks like if they're putting TypeScript on the top of the list like this, might be a bit of a bias there. But let's go through the rest of these here. So syntax, it seems like syntax is for maintaining purposes. Okay, I'm just gonna let you. Well, no, we already decided. We said Go, or we said TypeScript. We said TypeScript for readability for sure, and I think we can kind of agree, at least for like simplicity of writing. You probably get stuff done quicker in TypeScript than you will in Go. Maybe. Not always. Right? I'm not saying everybody, because I know you guys are Go crazy like I am too. However, there's just less you have to write. That is a fact. that is a fact. Okay, so let's go to the next thing that the robot said we should compare. What was the next thing the robot said we should compare? Tooling. Oh, God. All right, so tooling. So, and this is around support for development cycle. You know what? I'm just going to let you vote you know what? I just want you to vote. Which do you prefer, tooling wise? Go or TypeScript? I'm just gonna let you guys vote because honestly, I feel like I don't really know. So just vote. Which do you prefer tooling wise? Do you like Go or do you like TypeScript? I should have put a third one and said neither. Do you know? No, Node TS. Node TS. Ooh, look at the biasness fly. Yeah, you should only really vote if you have a good experience with both. Yeah. Yeah. Don't just vote if you've never used Go before. Yeah, that wouldn't be fair. Like for me, it's hard. Because I actually don't think Go modules are awesome. Like I don't really like Go modules that much. Like I know some of us might be like, well, you like NPM? Kind of. I don't like it when other people manage it, but like redistributable immutable artifacts versus just like cloning a repository. I don't know, dude. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but then like TypeScript, you got NPM. And it's just like, oh God, like, oh yeah, no, I trust me, I agree. But here's the thing, Jono, we're not building code. And that's a big thing to compare here, right? We're not building code. We're just writing it. Pulumi translates that into what it needs to run, right? Like it just runs our files. I've used Go for literally 2 hours and TypeScript. Also, I did my duty as a citizen and did not vote. Okay. So a lot of you are saying Go. So a lot of you, so to the ones out there who said Go, what tooling in particular are you talking about? And I don't mean that as shade. I am genuinely curious. Like, what tools are you just talking about? Like Go mod in general? Are you talking about like Go format? What Go tools are you talking about? Oh, come on. Don't give me crickets, dog. You guys just voted. Go Fumped. Wait, what is Go Fumped? Is that one wait, do I not know that? Oh, it's just a stricter Go formatter. Okay. So a formatter. Okay. Consistency of Go format. So wait, is it just formatting? Go funk it. So wait, is it just formatting? Module management versus npm yarn, testing, benchmarking, profilers, pretty good stuff. Okay, those are fair. So profiling, I don't think we'd really worry about it. Testing, I agree. Yeah. Fancy and I agree with you on testing. Testing, I would say I hate TypeScript testing. Now, I've only used Jest, to be fair, and Mocha. I run both Jest and Mocha at work. And the version of Mocha I use at work is terrible. However, testing in an asynchronous system is pretty nice. Well, when it's done right, and Go does do asynchronicity right. So I think I would agree with you. I'd say TypeScript falls a bit short with strictness around testing. Go has strong testing support as well as other tools like profiling. What did we say? Profiling, benchmarking, etc. Now, I mean, TS does allow YOLO mocking, though. Yeah. I agree. I think Go mod and NPM is the same. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think they're pretty close to being the same. Like, they both have their pros and their cons. Like, for example, Go mod sucks because if you don't set it up right away, well, I shouldn't say sucks because I know that's basically what you're saying, but like, it's challenging. You know what I mean? No, dude, I love Go. No, dude, my job is not to throw shade at anything. My job is to simply say which solves the best thing for the right problem. Does Yarn... So... All right, so Adam, I'll break that down for you. So Adam, the way that a yarn lock file works and the way that like a Go mod file works are a bit different. Lock files will basically generate based off of any package that you install, and they will read the dependencies as well as peer dependencies to it. So it's an atomic... I mean, I guess the Go lock file is an atomic thing too, but basically all I'm trying to say is like, it's in the regard of like shaking, right? Or like cleaning up. Basically, once you remove a package, it'll make sure that anything related to that dependency tree is removed. Like they both have that functionality. Yeah. There is no need for a tidy. It just, the package manager, like the next time you run npm or yarn, whatever, and you've removed the module, it will detangle, which again, yarn lock files are nightmares. It'll detangle all of that for you. What's challenging about it? Nothing really. I'm just saying that I think they both are, negligibly different in the sense of the module system. I don't think either of them are as good, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think either of them is really great. I don't really know if I like I don't know if I like having to pull down the whole source code just to be able to build what I want. You feel me? Like, these are like Python's the same way in a lot. Well, no, is it? I don't remember if Python requires you to package everything with it or not. Can I have my hot take technical design document regarding this decision? Great, here goes. Sure. Again, these are just, they're hot takes. We're just talking here. Looking at the examples in the documentation, hard to vote against Python. Really? Should we do a third experiment of writing this in Python and see what it looks like? I mean, we can. Not against it. If it's quicker, it's just gonna be quicker. See, I do think that TypeScript falls a bit short with strictness around testing. However, module system compared to Go are very similar, though have different problems of their own. I think that's a valid thing to say. Is this like you have to manually maintain a version file in Python? What? You have to do that anywhere? What are you talking about? Anywhere you have version control, you have to maintain a version file. That's what a packaged file is. Or a Go mod or a requirements.txt. I've worked with both for almost 10 years. The dependency management in Go has improved. I agree. Well, I mean, Jess, if you've been around that long, then you know a time when everything needed to be in one path and it was very restricting, and like you had to have like local private packages, and you know what I mean, like things like that. Which I wholeheartedly agree with that. NPM feels like there's no change for the developer experience. I don't disagree, but I also don't know at this point what they would change. In all seriousness, like you can't compare like Cargo to NPM. You just can't. Like Cargo's just so much nicer on like so many levels. You know what I mean? And I think Go is like a good in between those two, right? Go mod has gotten better, but there's still like really weird things. Like, for example, a lot of things people don't tell you is that sometimes modules don't support Go mod and you need to use that. And in those cases, you kind of have to like shim them essentially to make them work, because the ecosystem is still a bit torn between everybody trying to go to Go mod and everybody using GoPath. Yeah. Which, I mean, thankfully you don't really run into these days. Most libraries are updated, but you still run into that every now and then if it's like old, and it hasn't been updated to the new Go module system. One, tooling and comfort is everything. Ecosystem size needs to be big enough. No Lua, but maybe Python okay. Performance does not matter in this use case. 4, no wrong decisions, and it's likely reversible in the case of dire happens. 5, invoices in the mail. Net 4. Yeah. Okay, remote deploy example, Go 80 lines, Python 40, DB migration 246, Python at 400. Yeah, that's almost half. Holy sh! Yeah, that's almost half. I was worried that Python was going to be the real MVP here. And do you know why, chat? Do you know why I think Python is actually the real almost undermanned MVP here? Because it gets as close to solving the problem as it really needs to be. Look at Terraform. Terraform is the leader right now in automation. Like, it is. Everybody uses Terraform. Terraform is pretty much known everywhere. It's if not one of the biggest leaders in automation. Look at the DSL. It's dead simple. Why is it dead simple? Because when you are needing buckets, or you're needing instances, or you're needing whatever, you don't want to trip over if statements. You don't want to trip over really weird complexities and things like that you've added to your code through opinionation, right? HCL says, screw your opinionation. You're going to be strict and you're going to use our definition. However, one of the reasons why we don't like using HCL, or I don't as well, is because you get only so close before you start running into problems, right? That restriction also has its own challenges, right? But if you look at something like Python is like stupid simple. Again, outside of its weird intricacies of like, tabbing or, whatever, spacing, right? No needs for types really, right? No need for any kind of real setup either. Like, you don't even need a requirements.txt technically. Whereas like with Go, with and you don't really need that with Node either. Or so you do need that with Go. Go, you would need some type of I guess you would use Go mod, or you would use the old Go path system, but you probably should not use that. Yeah. Pulumi over HTTP example, Go 346 lines, Python 137. But Go mod is superior. I don't disagree with you that Go mod is superior. Go mod is superior. I agree with you wholeheartedly that Go mod is superior. But again, we are asking ourselves, we're putting on our DevOps hats, right? Like, if anything, I want you guys to leave the stream going out into the world knowing how to question things better. That's all. Right? I think we're all right now in this moment getting better at simply questioning things, right? We're making sure our biases and our nerd opinions, although they are passionate and valid, right? We're also making sure that we're looking at this holistically and making an unbiased opinion as well as we can. And I like that. I'm really happy that we're doing this. This is actually a lot of fun because it's helping me really understand when I would use Go, when I would use TypeScript, and when I would use Python more too. And I think this is really, really cool. Like, honestly, through the conversations we've already had, part of me wants to be able to use, like, part of me is kind of like, now I kind of want to try Python. And like, that's the, like, earlier when somebody was like, hey, DevOps, that's the fun, awesome part about DevOps that I get to enjoy every single day about my job, is there will be days where I'm like, I hate Python, and then something like this will happen where I look at it and I just trick my mind into realizing that, like, all of these things are problem, or all of these things solve solution, or have, solve problems again. Like, all of these things are really interesting. Like, to reinvigorate something a day before you hated because you now see it as like a problem solver. It's just, I love it. It is, it's why I truly, I don't just cancel something in particular. Like, okay, so TypeScript falls a bit short with strictness around testing. However, module system compared to Go, module system compared to Go are very similar, though have different problems of their own. Go has strong testing as well as other Go module system is well matured and provides good support for developers. I would say that's pretty fair. I would say, like, again, I think like, and I would almost say that I've definitely had less problems with Go than I have had Node, for sure. So one thing we're really not trying to talk about too much, Jess, just to be clear, because you're not wrong, right, is because of like, this is also very specific to Pulumi, which is Pulumi will always run your code for you. There's no just binary that you drop into CI. So, like, even if, I guess all I'm trying to say, Jess, to your point, is even if we got to as far as where you are, it's just like we had a binary, we still need Pulumi and other dependencies, meaning we still have to somehow containerize that and, you know, or isolate it or something. So that's when I'm like, I don't know how far that really becomes like an actual problem, because, like, that's a different, like, CI/CD and how we run it. I don't know. Like, again, what for, like, distributables for me and binaries really become powerful to me when we talk about giving it to other developers. When we talk about just running it in pipelines and stuff like that, it's not as big of a deal to me, but I definitely see the value in it, and I understand why, you know, again, one binary versus being like, all right, let me create a node environment, do npm install, and da-da-da. Normally, though, you can also solve that by, like, making a base image, right, or something. Like there are ways of so I don't disagree with you, but I also don't know how crucial that is to, like, these points that we have here. I don't know how much of a binary is really valuable here, I guess is all I'm trying to say. But I could be wrong. Okay, so is there anything else around tooling? It seems like the big ones for tooling are really around testing and modules, right? And if we compare TypeScript to Go, Go's going to have better testing, for sure. I definitely think Go will have better testing, right? Whereas modules, I think it'll be stricter, which will make it nicer to use. However, I do even myself, well, no, I mean, that's not true. Once the module's set up, I'm pretty much good to go. Yeah, I would almost say that from a development cycle, Go is probably better. Let's ask you guys. I'm going to do a poll. All right. Which development cycle do you prefer? Go, TypeScript. Now, again, you have to have some experience with both, chat. Okay? So through your personal experience, which do you prefer? And I actually think I'll vote as well on this. You can clearly see the readability in Go is better than Python and JS. Wait, sorry, you put like 4 arrows, so I don't know which direction we're going. Will you actually write tests for Pulumi? Yeah, we want to. Yeah, I think it's important to. We have tests. Like, there are actually tests in Go, or I'm sorry, in have you, like, I guess one thing I will say, Wolf of Dude, is have you ever done it in TypeScript? Because yeah, no, it's not the most fun. It's a bit challenging. What would they test? So logically, you would want to make. Oh, you don't know how you would write it? Oh, really? So you basically just like mock everything, right? So you're really testing like the outputs. Like, okay, did we get a S3 bucket with this name, right? Did we get what we expected, right? Did we get this generated URL? Also, Woof Woof Dude, you can actually use things like there's something out there called local stack. I don't know if guys have ever heard of this before, but this is basically like if you want Amazon to like if you want to develop against Amazon locally. Now, it doesn't actually like create obviously the resources for you, but it gives you the APIs in a way of emulating clouds, basically cloud emulation, right? So for example, if you do like local stack start and then you just do like AWS local, yeah, and this is how you can test it as well. Did you not know about this? Yeah, this is a really cool. We use this at Hippo. We use this in certain parts of Hippo. So Go. Yeah, and I agree. I voted on that one too. I said Go as well. I agree. I think for tools development cycle, I think Go is a better one here. As a matter of fact, here's what we'll do. We'll put the ones that are better performance wise or like better like whatever on top. So we've got basically both, right? Like I'm familiar with both. We said that performance Go outperforms TypeScript a bit by default, simply because it only compiles once, and you don't need to recompile it as you guys said in chat, right? That looks like it must be janky. It can be. I will be clear. It can be janky. It can be. It's not always janky. But it can be. Yeah. Okay, so let me go back here. All right, so we said that performance-wise Go's a little bit better. We said that for syntax, overall, ease of readability and writing of code, we said that we preferred TypeScript. Again, these aren't massive differences, right? Either, chat. These are just small, subtle differences that we're talking about here. Tooling, we said that we like Go's tooling more. We feel like that it's got better testing support, things like that. Hold on, my Firefox is like crashing. All right, Stupak, have a good one, buddy. Thank you for hanging out. So the conclusion is Go for Go if it's long term, Go for TS if you gotta go fast. Yeah, that's kind of where we're which kind of makes sense, right? So let's go to the last one, maintenance, right? And we'll say ease of developer maintainability or developer use and support, right? And I think the main reason why I say developer use and support is we need to consider that this automation is not going to be just used by us. Excuse me. If it is, none of this matters, and shut the which, me personally writing it doesn't matter. Like, all of these arguments are null and void because I'm literally just doing it for myself. However, if I was to go to Hippo, right, or a much larger company, that's where this kind of comes into play a bit more. So that's why when I say maintenance and we say ease of developer use and support, what we're saying is two things. One, developers need to be able to easily clone it, be able to easily contribute to it, be able to push it, as well as anything else, right? And not only that, but we need to be able to go into it very quickly, right? And add supported features to it that were not there. So that's the comparison we're talking about here, right? Now, if we talk about Go to start, what I think I would say is that Go has better structures for long-term support. However, this requires more developer man-hours to support. I think that's a good way of putting it. So I think intrinsically, because Go is strict, you're going to be always abiding by the strictness of Go. Whereas TypeScript, being more loose, we'll say loose with control, allows for quicker changes and faster iteration cycles. Do we agree with that? Give me a 1 in chat if you agree with me. Give me a 2 if you don't. And if you don't, that's totally fine. Help me get to where you are. What's up, Rudix? How's it going? Hello, hello. 1.2, mostly agree. Okay, that's fine. Again, if you have something that you feel like you don't know or you don't like, let's talk about it, right? So like I said, I think there's also trade-offs here. Let's add a trade-off. So trade-off is less things break less often, right? Trade-off is more things break more often. I think we can agree with that, right? I think that's the double-edged sword here. Is do we put more time up front in automation, or do we just iterate more often on it? And do we have to, because here's the thing, if you have to iterate more times than you do supporting it, then it's, yeah. You know what I mean? Then goes a really, really valid opportunity. But like, if I'm just able to just go in and be like, oh crap, we figured, okay, let me just 2 seconds, whoop, in, you know what I mean? Too high fault. Sorry, what now? I am just here looking at things and going, wow. Wait, what are you going wow over, Latjor? Are you not enjoying the experiment we're doing? I love legacy projects. They're up because it's still making money. Oh, you're just saying I cannot contribute. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. All good. Hey, at least you're here. At least you're here. No, you're good. You're good. Mr. Yan, how's it going, by the way? I love legacy projects. They're yeah. For example, I have seen legacy solar. Why is that? Well, yeah, but this isn't legacy, right? Like, this is something new. But I get your point. I get your point. So I think TypeScript wins here. I'm just going to be real. I think more developers could pick up TypeScript faster because it's more loose. I think with Go, we would have to intrinsically teach a lot and have a lot of education. Whereas I think with TypeScript, now I don't disagree, things might break more often. However, I feel with the scope of what could break here, in Go, we would deal with more intrinsic problems with Go, versus with TypeScript, we would probably just deal with like not well confined, or like broken configurations, or you know what I mean, things like that. And I'm using real life experience here. I'm really trying to think of like how we do things at Hippo, and like we use Terraform at Hippo, and the only time I really ever have to go in and maintain it is whenever I'm dealing with like really stupid Terraform problems. Like, we need to move state, or we need to, iterate over this, and the for won't work. And so you got to do count instead, like things like that. And I'm wondering, and I'm arguing that Go might have that same problem where its strictness is going to make you deal with more of that strictness. Whereas like TypeScript, it's just going to break and you'll just fix it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be the same problem where it's like you have to fix it to get it to work to the agreed strictness, I guess, of the language. Because TypeScript does have I don't know if does that make sense? Also, specific problems around passing config values in Go. Right. Yeah. Again, because JavaScript is more object oriented, and more focused on like realistically, TypeScript is basically just, JSON. Like all of the structures are essentially JSON, right? And so it makes configuration in similar constructs very easy, you know? Whereas like in Go has support for JSON, but its real structures are structs, types, you know? And so you have to intrinsically do this, like, we're going to go from the Go type definition to JSON, and you have to think about that. And I think that's what I mean by maintainability. I think TypeScript is better here because of how loose it is with control, right? I think in Go, like real talk, one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is because I spent like 2.5 hours trying to figure out what the to do here. And I only spent 30 minutes rewriting the whole thing in TypeScript. Those are the kind of things I'm trying to avoid. Like, that's it. That is it. Those are the things I'm trying to avoid, at least with automation. I'm not saying that there's the best language for the job. I'm simply just arguing, what have I gone through? What have I dealt with already? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that one. All right. I think TypeScript wins here. I do. I think TypeScript wins here. I think just marginally. You know, I don't think it's massive, but I do think that because Go is stricter, it's just, you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna hit it more. Whereas here, you're gonna hit other things more, right? Like, you're gonna hit, like, again, broken configurations, can't connect to blah, blah, like, whatever. And they're annoying. Like, those are frustrating. But, like, those aren't the same problems of investing developer time into just a decision you made. And that's like the whole point of my job. Like that's literally the whole point of my job, is to make sure we're not shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, listen, we might be running, but if you're running, you're shooting yourself in the foot every 5 steps. Are you still running at your best pace? You know, at your best pace? Like, I don't know, you know, like, and that's where it's like, I have to consider, are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Now here's where the thing becomes really crazy, right? Now, switch everything we've talked about here and then apply it to like a normal program. And then obviously TypeScript is put in a catapult and shot out a window, right? But it is interesting when you compare the difference when you look at like what you're really trying to solve. And, you know, I know this is a common thing that we talk about in our community, but like, this is why I teach you guys and I share with you guys technical documents. Nobody else really does that. Now, I'm actually very thankful because more streamers are doing it. I've seen a lot of people doing it more, or if they were doing it another place, like I'm seeing more people do it, and I'm really happy for that because I don't think enough thought is put into place when we make these kinds of decisions. And so, yeah, I'm glad to see that more of that is being shown, because if it's shown more people in higher places, hopefully we'll start to understand that it is equally important and a part of the job. Yo, RD Techie, what's up, man? How's it going? Serious question. How do you get better feedback when doing these kinds of tasks? We sometimes do testing by running sandbox, almost like an integration test, but with IEC. I mean, I'll be real. You guys are like, one of the things that makes it really powerful for me is being able to walk into a room and be like, yeah, no, I've talked to like 30, 50 other engineers. Like, you guys are my power. Like real talk. You guys are my power. All in winter, dude. Thank you for the 15 months, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for that resub, dude. Oh my God. Dude, all in winter, what the I wasn't even done thanking you. Dude, all in winter, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. That's so sweet of you. Thank you, dude. Thank you. You broke me. Fancy Yellow, Tedgar, Old School Crapper, nice. Scorpion, Pravan, Prektik, Metamis, Star Fox, Mewy, and Critzy. Please be sure to thank all. Dude, all in winter, thank you so much. It's good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. Hope life's going well for you. Thank you for the support, man. Thank you. I'm always like, what's happening? Thank you, man. Thank you. And again, if you got gifted from All in Winter, or anybody who's gifted a sub to you, please be sure to thank them. Good to see you too, man. Good to see you too. Okay, so before we got sidetracked a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, thank you so much, All in Winter. I say this all the time. So like, okay, I'm gonna be completely blunt with you. We are like we basically just make ends meet for the stream, is what I mean. Obviously, Toto and I have day jobs, so we make it work. We don't have a massive subscriber count. We don't have, you know, a ton of other financial things going through. However, do you know what we do have? We do have cloud costs, and we do have electrical costs as well as other things. So like all in winter, you know, anybody who subscribes to the channel, it's never asked, but it's always really thanked, because like, you know, we do try and make sure we put as much value to what you guys give us as possible. So thank you, man. Thank you. For using TypeScript, what about the weight of points you wrote? For example, Pulumi has to compile each time TypeScript versus Go binary. Devs can learn Go and TypeScript, but nothing can be done about the compilation. So Kane, in regards to that argument, right, I think the thing here is like, if you're running it locally, that's not ideally where we want it to be run, right? So this is where it's kind of like null and void, because I think performance in general is like, this is marginal in the sense of Go outperforming TypeScript here, because at the end of the day, right, like it's running in CI. Once we for me, once it's committed and pushed, it's done. I don't think about it, right? Like that's the level of like automation I want. I just want to make a change and hope the pipelines are green, you know? So I don't really care if I have to get up and get a cup of coffee, you know what I mean, until that's done. Like that doesn't really bother me as much. Compared to something like how fast are my requests responding, you know what I mean? So it's a valid in the sense of like, it saves time, but if you're doing it locally, you're probably going to be recompiling multiple times because you're making changes to it, versus when you're running it in the cloud, you only have to run it once, right? But again, here it's just like, it's already running in CI. Like, is it really that big of a deal, you know? That's just kind of my thought. Again, I'm not saying it's the best one. Do you keep technical documents in your Zettelkasten? Not sure if you've ever heard of that concept. Yeah, actually, I totally have heard of Zettelkasten. As a matter of fact, that's why I said it right. that's why I know how to say it. Yeah, I used to use Zettelkasten before. I've used it for at least I think I'm saying it right. I hope I am. I used it in Obsidian, and then I used it directly. Actually, I started out using Zettels, you want to call them that, with Vim Zettel. And so Vim Zettel is a Zettel is a Vim Wiki add-on that allows you to create Zettelkasten documents right directly in your Vim. And so it's called Slipbox. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I used this for a while. And then I was like, you know, I need something that's kind of not in Vim, because like I like doing things like, hold on, I'll show you. Like I like doing things like this. Like having like, you know, call outs and like charts and like formatting and stuff. And you can only really go so far with that with like Markdown. And so then I went to Obsidian, and Obsidian has it as well. But Obsidian was it was a little bit too much work to get like the user experience I wanted, because I wanted my documents everywhere as well. And with Obsidian, you can do that, but you have to pay for it, or you have to like find other ways of doing it. And I kind of just wanted an enterprise solution that solved everything for me. And so that's why I went with Notion. Yeah. And I really like Notion. I think Notion's a great product. I really do. Okay, so an old love of mine again, the brain. Nice. That's cool. I don't know what that is, but that's cool. Or are you just talking about your actual brain? Okay, so my Obsidian. Oh no. Okay, gotcha. I went for the animation, but multi-platform was paid, and Notion did it. Yeah. My Obsidian is distributed by my USB. Yeah. See, that was the thing. Was like, I just like, oh yeah, drop a link, please. Drop a link, please. I'm getting to the point genuinely in my age of life where I'm just like, I don't want to care about anything I don't have to. And, you know, I know I would do something where I would like break it or lose my USB stick, or dude, I'm not even kidding. I lose my glasses every 5 minutes. You can ask a Tota. I literally lose my glasses I have Velma syndrome, chat. Okay, like I anything that I could potentially break and or lose, it's probably not a good thing for me to have. Oh, cool. I will definitely check this out. Ooh, it's got. I mean, you sold me on wireframes, man, or you sold me on flowcharts. You sold me on flowcharts. Oh, that's cool. I like that. See, that's one of the cool things about like Zettelkasten, right? Is that you can like do that, you know, linking and all that stuff. Do you like me, LASIK? I don't think I can. I don't know if I'm at the point where I'm like irreversible. You know what I mean? For Obsidian, you could always put your vault, but Notion still is like cool. Yeah. I really like Notion. I'm gonna be fair. I just really like Notion. I'm too chicken for it. Yeah, to be fair, I'm kind of too chicken for it too. Glasses. I mean, dude, it's in my name. What would I do if I got LASIK? What would I be called? Like, I'm not gonna go by the first part of my name, okay? I'm not cool with that. So you know, my name is either black glasses or just glasses. Like, yeah, like I would have to if I don't have my glasses anymore. Like, what do I? Black eyes. So you know what's funny, Jono, is I actually have in World of Warcraft, I have a character named Black Eyes. But I don't have black eyes. Like, my eyes are green. So it doesn't make sense. I'm also not a shark. So there's that too. Yeah, I know that some people can't do black glasses list. Yeah, exactly. I would be black glasses list. All right, let's focus because I do want to do something. Okay, I do want to do something. First thing is I want to go through this one more time, and I kind of want to sum up everything that we just did because I think we just did a really cool thing and I'm excited about it. So I brought to you guys the very simple question of I want to make some automation, and I have the choice of making it in Go or TypeScript, and I've already written it in both. And I've compared the two based off of just pure lines. And we saw that by pure lines, TypeScript was a little bit easier, you know, to write. So then we said, all right, let's go down this wormhole for a little bit and kind of ask ourselves some more questions to see if we have better education around this question. So we say, okay, we have a problem. We have automation that we want to continuously add and maintain over an extended period of time, but no solution for a long-term language, right? What language would we feel like for a long-term, you know, of automation, right? Automation being particular here, right? What would we like? So we talk about familiarity. We said that, well, in this case, both are pretty well known, but how well we know each language. I've been working in TypeScript for like 8 years. I've been using Go for at least 6. So like, I'm pretty comfortable with both of them. This is a null and void for me, right? When we talk about performance, Go, it's a no-brainer. Go will outperform TypeScript pretty much anywhere because it compiles and it doesn't need to recompile unless it changes, right? TypeScript, because it requires a transpile stage, unless we actually render it or transpile it to JavaScript and then run it, which Pulumi doesn't really do. Every time Pulumi runs, it has to first transpile the code and then run it, right? So there will be intrinsic start time delay with TypeScript. There will not be there with Go. However, when we talk about actual requests being made, this is null and void because Go and TypeScript still have to talk to the same external resources, meaning that if Amazon's down, it's got more latency, things like that. This doesn't really matter. So the only thing that really is valuable here is in the developer cycle, right? Anyways, JS is well, yes, that's why it's transpiled and not compiled. But yes, it is interpreted. And so yeah, in this scenario, Go will outperform it in general. What's up, Destrox? How's it going? Or Destroy, I think. How's it going? Hello. Go outperforms this. But again, these are running in CI. We're not really worried about it. And with the Go scenario, if you're doing development locally and you change it, you're still going to have to recompile it, right? Okay, so again, Go outperforms it, but it's marginal and not massively different, right? Syntax, ease of readability and writing code. So we compared two pieces of code. I had a bunch of people in, or, you know, all of you in here, you know, we all looked at the code and we did a vote, right? And the majority of the vote is that comparing the Go code to the TypeScript code, TypeScript was a little easier to write, right? Especially if you're familiar with it, and requires a little less to write. And for readability, because it's just not as verbose or as verbosely required as TypeScript, it has a bit of a margin here. Now, again, we're only comparing this against a large organization, right? We're not saying if it's just me, if I'm just writing this automation by myself, none of these points matter. Just pick whatever you want to write, right? However, what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, I'm at a company, right? I'm at a company of 100 developers, 200 developers, and I'm about to write automation that they're all going to use. That is what we're comparing here, right? But even in that case, again, it's still marginal. It may be, you guys may be a full Go house, and then they look at you and say, why the would we use TypeScript, right? You may be a full TypeScript house and go, why the do we use Go, right? But again, being able to have arguments around, if you're in one of those circumstances and you want to use one or the other, being able to say, well, this is this, this is this, this is that, you know what I mean? They can help with your argument. So again, syntax, TypeScript, yeah, barely marginally leans forward. How about the thing with Rust, bun or bum? Which one is that, Nilium? And how's it going, by the way, Nilium? Hello. Yeah, so again, marginal, but TypeScript we'll give it here. Tooling, I definitely agree. I think Go's got better tooling, but I also think in regards to this comparison, it's still pretty marginal, right? Go's going to have better testing support just because of the language and its strictness and things like that, especially with like profiling, benchmarking, because we can compile to a binary, right? The Go module system is well matured and provides good support for developers. But however, in comparison to NPM, it's not that different. You're still going to deal with package problems on some scale and some level. So Go wins marginally here again, but you'll probably have a better experience with tooling, at least with regards with Go, than you would TypeScript. TypeScript falls a bit short with strictness around testing, which makes it a little bit harder to test, more work, more developer hours, things like that. The module system compared to Go are very similar though, right? They have different problems, but the experience through it is pretty similar, right? NPM install, go get, right? Things like that. Maintenance, right? Ease of developer use and support. So we're talking about, all right, now we're at a large scale company, and I want to make sure that a bunch of developers can work with this project, right? TypeScript being more loose with control allows for quicker changes and faster iteration cycles. Trade-off is more things break more often, which I agree. I think if you're changing things more often, things can break more often as well. However, the complexity of that change with TypeScript, I think, is naturally going to be lower, right? You're not going to deal with really weird things that you have to solve every time you make a change. But because Go is more, and maybe that's not even entirely true, because I feel like TypeScript, you can still deal with that a lot. So again, this is marginal. But the argument we're making here is that because Go has better structures for long-term support, it also requires more developer man hours by default, right? Whether it be just purely having to write more lines of code or support intricacies that Go has that it might not be able to support. Things like, JSON parsing or some of the other things that we talked about before. So in my mind, because TypeScript is a bit more loose, right? And we can move quicker over it from a company perspective, the ability to also have really good readability and relatability, TypeScript kind of takes a margin here. Again, these are not massive margins, guys. These are minimal margins, but they are still margins, right? And we all voted on this, by the way. Again, you all voted on this. And so, yeah, in this scenario, I think so. So if we look back, we've got one for TypeScript, one for Go, one for TypeScript, one for Go, and then they both. So I guess what, the consensus here of the internet and me, you guys and me basically, is that if you want to move fast, TypeScript will probably be more beneficial for you. Now, here's the thing, and I will say this. So let's not talk about good TypeScript versus bad TypeScript. Let's just assume that we're writing good TypeScript as well as writing good Go code, right? So let's just be clear on that. Let's not assume that we're just writing terrible TypeScript, because here's the thing. I've been working with TypeScript long enough to know how to write it right. It just, you have to know when you're shooting yourself in the foot and when you're not. So yeah, we're not going to make any assumptions of like, okay, one is necessarily better than the other in the sense of like the code quality, right? I think if we said, okay, both have got good code quality, TypeScript, we can just move faster. And I think that is, I think being able to change quicker and then fix is more of what, okay, here's what I'm going to say. So being able to change things quicker and fix faster can be more valuable, and I'll say can be more valuable in DevOps than more time invested up front every time a solution is required. Yeah, I think that's the main thing I'm trying to point out here is that, again, my experience here, being able to change things faster and also fix them fast is more valuable, because here's why. From a business standpoint, we get things out faster, right? They may not be perfect, but we already iterate over it, right? Whereas from a technical standpoint, right, we break things more often. However, we have a lower requirement for problem solving. I think that's it, right? I think, yeah. That feels good. Here, we'll do this summary or conclusion. Yeah. All right, let me catch up with chat. Just got the new company. Welcome. Hey, dude, congrats. Yo, Thug Muffin, I want you to know I saw your messages, my dude. I'm sorry I have not gotten back to you yet. But yeah, dude, congratulations, my man. I'm super happy. Like, listen, we didn't know. Now we know, and we move forward. And here's the thing, bro. You're going to be happy. You're going to be enjoying life. Like, hey, I'm proud of you for trying. You know, you gave it your best at a company. They didn't work out. All good. You know, now you know. And that's a part of life, my friend. Congratulations, though, bud. I hope you enjoyed. And the new laptop. Yo, what's up, Zummy? How's it going, buddy? They want to settle on Python at my employer. See, again, I don't think this is just like one problem solver here. Again, like if anything, we're really just talking about automation at a like again, if we're looking at the context here, we're talking about automation at a large scale with many people touching it. Like even those are, you know, like you got to be in that scenario for a lot of this to still be valuable. Like again, if we're just making automation for ourselves, none of this is valuable. Just make whatever you want, you know. Random question. You have any experience with design systems like Material or Carbon? Yes, I do. And yes, I was a front-end engineer for 3 years. Yep. I started my career in front-end. That's why I'm still very passionate about like front-end frameworks and stuff like that. I just honestly, I'm not getting into that conversation. Nope. I'm good. Those conversations don't allow for a lot of technical discussion. Front-end frameworks, people, oh God. People get all like up in a, you know, whatever about it, but then they don't offer, like, they don't want to spend the time to like actually technically describe it. There are a few who do. There are a few content creators who do, and I respect them for it, and I'm glad for that. However, it's not always the most popular thing. Well, Material and Carbon aren't front-end frameworks technically. Well, I mean, you're talking about just the material design, what is it called? Not standard, but whatever. I hate Material. Like, I'm just going to say anything's better than Material UI. I think, okay, here's my informal comparative analysis on Material. Material was built for scale because it was built by Google, right? So if you are a company who needs an exact definition of a button and 90,000 friggin' things that it can do, Material is really good. It's scalable. It's got really good, standards in place, and really good, design, not swatches, but I forget what it's called, like not templates, but you know what I mean? Like it has really good reusability of design concepts, I guess is all I'm trying to say. Yeah, sure. Tokens. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. The thing that sucks about Material is that because it's so granular by default, you're literally walking into a Costco of like resources. And so unless you know what you want and how to use it and why to use it, it's not always good. And a lot of people make Material websites look like you're looking at like a piece of glass. And I don't think that the cool thing about Material is that it's got like a material feel to it. I think it's that it's highly reusable and things like that. But I think it's so abstracted that unless you know how to like actually design good UX with Material, it's not very valuable. I am live coding. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes. When I open a startup, I will take it back to skeuomorphic. Oh, jeez. What if designers made something using Material UI and you only had to implement it? Well, that's like the part I hate. That's the part I hate, the implementation part. Because that scalability goes through the whole ethos of Material. From the design abstraction to the abstraction in the code. Whereas I don't really know a lot about Carbon, but like if we tried to compare it to something like, you know, I'm trying to think of like something that would be comparative. You can't really use Tailwind. Yeah, I don't know of another one. But I think, I don't know. Chakra, sure, Chakra, that's a good one. Yeah, Chakra. I've used Chakra as well. Like Chakra is I think more, okay, if I try and sum it up better, I think, yeah, Airbnb, I know about the Airbnb one. I think Go or Material is good. It just has a massive learning curve, as with anything with Go. I also think that it's again, the components aren't used properly normally because there's a lot of white space in Material UI and people don't know how to use that well. Like knowing how to use white space is a literal gift in its own. And I'm happy anytime I see a website that knows how to properly use white space. But see, here's the thing. When I was into front end, I got massively into like the core fundamental things. And that's why like frameworks that were obtrusive to that, I hated. Right? Like I would much rather use something like Chakra or Tailwind or something, like just so that it's not obtrusive to my design. Whereas like because Material is so strict, it also becomes obtrusive. Whereas like Chakra and other things are just like very simple. They have very simple components, very easily reusable components, and you know exactly what you get out of it. All right, my bad. Let me catch up with chat here, and then I got to take a super quick break, and then we're going to try doing something. If you introduce a tool like Terraform in a company, would you also come up with some rule standards for how Terraform code should be structured? Yes. No. RD Techie, you should never, ever leave anything up to the developer's imagination. That's the best way to put it. If you want standards within a company, there's no imagination. There's like experimentation, sure, and hypothesis and like scientific theory, but there's no imagining. There's no imagining. So yes, you would absolutely have some kind of standardizations of, this is how we structure things. Like, for example, where I'm going to be doing a YouTube series on this, by the way, guys. So please be sure to subscribe to both the YouTubes whenever the bot decides to respond. But I talk about this in a previous VOD that we'll be getting up shortly, which is like our automation is separated by concerns, right? Bucket, message, database, right? And so like at a company level, right? This is like how we solve those problems, RD Techie. So this is a standard already where we say you can't just have everything in one place, right? If you need Kubernetes cluster, okay, well then you go to Kubernetes and you get that off the shelf, right? Okay, I need a database. Okay, cool. You go to the database automation and you get that off of the shelf. So it's like that kind of standardization and things like that, I think that are very important. You got pushback from engineers that want to do whatever they want. That's 100% normal of the job. I get pushback every day. Just tell them, just follow through with the plan. Carry on, carry on and keep calm and carry on. That's what I'm trying to say. So so in all seriousness, RD Techie, to give you a real solution here, make a document and shut them up with it. Otherwise, they do the same thing with you. How do you cope with that, even if you make enemies? I'm going to be real. I said it earlier this stream that DevOps is a thankless job. I'm trying to become a principal engineer right now. And do you know what my number one focus as a principal engineer really has to be? Making sure that everything is built right for the company. Doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what the developer thinks. It doesn't matter what I think, as long as it's the best solution for the company. Right? And, I think RD Techie, that's like where the conversation stops for me. Like, if somebody, like RD Techie, if somebody came up to me and they're like, hey, like, I want to do it like this, and you're putting in too many standards, I'd be like, okay, do you know why we do those standards? And then they're like, why? Well, why to make my life harder. No, because last time we didn't have those standards, we lost thousands of dollars. We had pipelines break. We had misinformation. We had bad communication between people. That is how you win in these types of arguments. Now, if they're going to sit there and get butthurt about that, okay, like whatever, grow up. This is a job. Like, we're here to build the company so we get more money. Like, and you don't have to be like, okay, well, F you, that's it. But I think my point here, RD Techie, is that if you want structures, standards, and rules, you have to build them and make them, and then you have to convince them to use it. That's a lot of my job, is convincing people that my solution or the idea that I have is the right one. Sometimes it's documentation. Like here's the thing, and this is probably like, hopefully for you guys who've been here the whole stream, I'm hoping that a lot of you guys actually stepped away from this going like, wow, like I have more respect for a language I didn't have respect for as much, or at least like more open-mindedness to using it. You know what I mean? Simply because I wrote a document. Like, that's it. I wrote a document and I went through it and I went through the trade-offs, and if anything, I showed, TypeScript is as valuable, if not more valuable, in automation, or can be, simply by sitting down and writing a document on it. IT is so hard to work with other people. It is. It's tough. Principal. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. But I don't, again, I look at it, again, it is a thankless job, but, it's my job. My job is to make sure that your job is done right, and I don't mean in the sense of like me making, me like checking up on you, but I mean it more in the sense of like, I need to make sure that, I'm giving you the right tools and considering like what you have to do so that you can take your next step forward. You know what I mean? And because here's the thing, and I think here maybe this is another argument you can have as well, which is just like, you should be only there as a DevOps engineer to help the developers. And like, if you literally just have to be like, listen, dude, I'm here to help you. Like, I want to help you. I want us to like, meet in the middle on this. How can we do that? But this, how can we do that within these like parameters? I think that's an approach too. Yeah. I tried Pulumi with C#. Yeah. Hey, I haven't been here for a while. Have you already done a comparison between pure cloud versus in-host cluster? No, I haven't. I have actually not done that. That is something we could do. We've done both. So we definitely could. But how's it going, Devin? It's good to see you. Hello, hello. You want to do what you want? Start a side project. Yeah, literally. Yeah. You want to do that? Make a point of proof of concept, bring it to the table, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do one more thing because this is the last little itch I want to scratch. Okay, we have talked about Go, we have talked about TypeScript, but we have also said in the back of our minds that there's one other language that might be even more efficient to write automation in, chat. And do you know what that is? That language is Python. Yes, chat. I'm saying mother Python. So we earlier we had some people in chat looking at the differences, and Python was brought up, and again, Python was something I was even thinking about too, because Python, I think, goes even further and abstracts away a lot of the things that you even need with TypeScript. I'm not saying we're going to keep this automation in every whatever. All I'm trying to say is like, we just talked about the benefits here, the factors of of maintainable automation, right? The factors that we care about: familiarity, performance, syntax, tooling, and maintenance. I want to put Python to the test, and I want to see if Python outperforms any of these. I want to see if you and I both agree, comparing it to Go and TypeScript, right? If we think that it'll be, exactly, it'll be fun to write some modular code with. Exactly, I agree. Because we are going to follow the same pattern. We're still going to like make a module, make it reusable and things like that, right? So yeah. This automation document you just showed, do you remember the video title in which you talked about? I'm looking through the video list on YouTube, but can't really locate it. You mean, you talking about this one right here? Like that VOD's, I'm sorry, RD Techie. That VOD's not on YouTube yet. Yeah, it's not on YouTube yet. I'm gonna be real with you, RD Techie. I'm gonna make a series out of it on YouTube. Like, I'm gonna make like a more directed thing on just that. No. You're honestly, dude, I'm gonna be real as well. Like, I've had a lot of stress on me because our YouTube push hasn't been anywhere near as what I wish it was. Like I'm gonna be real. Like, it's been heavy on my heart. I had to basically pick between becoming a principal engineer and trying to, grow at Hippo, or being a content creator. And I looked at it and I was like, I'm not done in my professional career yet. I don't think I ever want to go into management, but I do want to be a principal. Like, I do want to get to a point where like I'm just making decisions for the company. Like, that's it. Like, I'm just kind of like a computer, and writing documents and help it. Like, I really enjoy that. And so I kind of looked at that and I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to do that first, get to that level, and then make content about that, and things around it, or going towards that. And so, yeah, Hippo's been very time consuming, but it's also been very productive. And like, that's why I'm trying to bring a lot of like this knowledge and things like that, to you guys, is because these are things that I'm learning at Hippo, or questions I'm asking myself there, Obviously still go above. No, not technically. No. Not anymore. No. Starts a programmer, creator, hype house. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. It's also something I'm striving at. Being a principal, it's also I want to be a man. Yeah, exactly. I think that'll be the roof for me. Like, really, I think I'll just be. Yeah, it's called the Paul Grammar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I do. I think that's the route for me. I think I'll get to principal, and then I'll just be like, I'm good. I'm still close enough to the code and the problems that I want to solve, and it's good money. Like it's not bad money. And then just take that and be like, all right, let's just live off of that. So anyways, all right, I'm gonna take a super quick break, and then when I come back, we're gonna try writing this automation in Python. It is. Yeah, it is, man. If you're new to our channel, be sure to check out that little blurb right there. Basically, we are a co-hosted channel by myself, BG, as well as my good friend Atoda. You get to hang out with us throughout the week and the weekends. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Atoda streams Thursdays and Saturdays. Basically, you get to hang out with me during the week, and Atoda now as well on Thursdays, and Atoda on the weekend. I am a seasoned engineer. I've been doing this, I shouldn't say engineer, whatever you want to call it, DevOps, like developer, whatever you want to call me. I've been doing this for 10 years. I started out in front end, I moved to back end, I then became full stack, and then became DevOps, which is what I do today. If you are interested in our community, be sure to check out our Discord. It's an awesome place filled with really cool people. If you ever have questions about anything, DevOps, Nix, any of the other kind of stuff we create, be sure to ask, be sure to join. Also, if you really are just trying to get into the field, and you don't know how. I really do believe being around engineers, seeing what they're talking about, osmosis, I think is a real thing, learning through osmosis. And we have a lot of really cool conversations in there. Outside of that, be sure to check out the YouTube. Like I said, we are also working on doing a YouTube push, even though, again, it may be a little slow right now. I do have 3 videos out on the main YouTube, though. I do think they're very cool. The first one is how to automate your CLI tasks. You guys have seen me do this in the past where I use like Just and other task runners. I think it's a really good video if you guys want to learn how to save yourself some time with CI. Also, if you're interested in Nix, I made a video on how to set up Nix flakes and a little bit of an understanding and intro to Nix. And then I also made a video on how to automate your dev setup. So if you're curious on basically how to have one button to automate your whole dev setup, that video is a pretty good one too. Also, the archives, again, they are a little out of time right now. I think the last video was, 3 months ago. Jeez, we haven't uploaded in a while. No, 2 months. Okay, 2 months. That's not as bad. But yeah, we all of our VODs are going to this channel. We are making a pipeline to make this completely automated so that now it'll only be 24 hours until you get that video instead of potentially up to a week or two. So, yeah. Slovakia. Hey, how's it going, man? Modest, I think. Modest, hello. Thank you for being here, man. Welcome from San Diego. What's your criteria for a principal engineer designer? Probably somebody who's also done and been in a role of UI and UX. Like actual UX work. I would say you'd probably need to be like a UX manager. I think design might require a little bit more manager work than principal engineer, but maybe I'm wrong on that. No, it'd be about the same. I think it'd be about the same. Yeah. Anyways, we can talk about it more once I get back. VP's business. Yeah. Once you go into like VP, president, all that kind of stuff, that's all business. I think as a principal designer, I think like Manny, I think the best answer I can give you there is like you need to be able to solve design problems on a company level. Like that's just all a principal is. You're looking at you go to the website and you see hundreds of people are failing to sign up for something because of a bad user experience. Your job is to go in there and from the top down fix it, right? It's the same thing with the principal engineer. Yeah. I'm on the website and I'm like, man, this is kind of slow. Why? Right? That's that's a lot of what principals do. It's just like, why? Principal is kind of boring. It's a select taste. Jono, I have really, really bad ADD, and I'm also slightly autistic. So documentation writing for me is like cathartic as for some reason. I can sit down, I just wrote this document, look at this document, dude, it's crazy. What? Why? I didn't have to do that, But for me, I don't know why, but it just it makes my mind feel so much at ease. Structure and good, well thought out things I'm also a perfectionist, so I think this naturally helps with my perfectionism where I'm just I'm thinking it through, so I don't have to think through it 9,000 times. You're a very different, yeah. Hey, I mean, that's a different thing in it for sure. But yeah, no, it's been an interesting thing to, as I get older, learn how to live with more. But yeah, Documentation was ironically one of those things I just started falling in love with. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. When I come back, we're writing in Python. Be right back. 1 second. Oh, I'm gonna run an ad too, by the way. If you guys don't know why we run ads during breaks, it's basically so you don't miss anything. Okay? Okay, be right back. All right, I'm back. Hi. So I'm gonna be real with you guys. I've never written automation in Python for Pulumi. So I actually have no idea how to do this. I'm going to create a new directory and we'll just say QRK66 Pulumi worker automation Python. What is the most common content on these streams? On my stream? Or you mean here? Honestly, we do a lot. So Mattis, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. So like I said, I'm in DevOps, so I work on a lot of different things. I sometimes have to debug front ends and support deployments for them or maintain them, right? Same thing for back ends as well. Sometimes we have to write in TypeScript. Sometimes we write in JavaScript. Sometimes we write in Python, right? Sometimes we're writing automation. So honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I think our stream probably provides you a really good experience of just like what overall software development is like, and then kind of talking through it as we do. Every day is a bit different. Every day we're kind of working on a different piece of the big puzzle, because that's really what we do here is we work on a really, really big puzzle, basically, that we're slowly putting together. And one of those big puzzles is Quark. And if you don't know what Quark is, basically Quark is a streamer tools platform that we're going to be going to open beta actually here at TwitchCon this year. Yeah. Yes, we also make great mermaid drawings. We generate documentation here. We are the first ChatGPT. But yeah, no, I mean, in all seriousness, I don't stick to one thing. I have many interests, many passions. And my job is a big, example of that, because a lot of what I do is all over the place within DevOps. If you're interested in some of my favorite languages, though, you can, those are some of my preferred languages. C++, Go, Elixir, JavaScript, and TypeScript, and Rust. I would say Elixir is probably just more interoperable with like any functional programming language. I really like functional programming languages as well. But yeah, Go, JavaScript, TypeScript, and Rust are like, a lot of my favorites. C++. Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of C++ back in the day, so that's why it's there. But all right, so Pulumi Python. I have no idea how to do this, chat. How to use Pulumi with Python. Yeah, let's figure this out. So Pulumi supports running your infrastructure in Python language, running any supported version. Install 3.7 later. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to work with AWS. So pip is required. Python VM. So we'll just do a VM for now, right? We'll just do a virtual M for now, right? But what we'll eventually end up doing is we'll nixify this. I'm not nixing it right now because I don't want to deal with it right now. Okay, so using Py packages. Okay. It is not required, but we recommend you using a virtual environment to isolate the dependencies. As of Pulumi, new Python projects created with Pulumi New will have a virtual environment created in a VM directly. Oh, okay. So maybe we just need to do Pulumi New. Pulumi New? Help? Create a project from a specified template name, such as AWS, Azure, Python. If no template is suggested, a list of suggestions will be presented, which can be selected interactively. Okay, so if I just do like Pulumi New. Oh. Oh, wow. Python. Oh, wow. Okay. So we want AWS Python because we're going to be working with, at least right now. So we'll do AWS Python. Project name, Quirk, Pulumi worker. is not a valid project name. A project with a name already exists. Ah, farts. I'm probably going to have to delete the old one. All right, let's do that really quickly. I don't think I created anything. Oh, I did. Farts. Okay, so we'll do quirk, Pulumi, worker, Python. Yeah, we can add it. Yeah, we'll just add Py for now. Yeah. Dev, sure. US West 2. I didn't do this with Go. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't realize this was a thing. I always do it manually. I am curious to know. Okay, so Pulumi new, not bad. Didn't know that was as extensive as it is now. That's cool. Does a lot, and especially it'll do a lot for Python. Oh, actually, no, it's good that you put that there because here's Matt, you want to know one of the things we do here at the stream? We can do this. I can click on you, and then I can click your messages, and then I can be like, oh, wait, you can call me. See, oh, wait, dude, there you go. Oh, my bad. I didn't go back. I'm a dummy. Dude, Matt, I'm sorry. You already told me this. I didn't read it that time, so I missed that one. See, that's what I'm saying, though. It's good that you guys tell me your names and, like, how you want to be said or want to be, like, named, I guess, or whatever like word. I'm just tired and I can't think of the word, but you know what I'm saying. You want to be called. There we go. Because then I can just find it. So yeah. My bad, Matt. Sorry about that, dude. It's good to have you back though, bud. I think it's probably why. It's just yeah, it looks like last time you were here was like maybe a month ago, so maybe that's why I didn't remember your name. I normally try and remember people's names. I will definitely remember you now though. Because we talked. So okay, the Pulumi new command set up a decent amount of stuff for us. It looks like it gave us a VM, it gave us a dev environment, a Pulumi.yaml, and a requirements.txt. So let's look at that. Okay, so the Pulumi requirements.txt is pretty minimal. 2 things. Pulumi.yaml, also very minimal. Pulumi.dev, very minimal. And then we've got our main.py and our virtual env. Now, I'm not in the virtual env, so I can go into it. So I guess like so far for Python, one command sets everything up for you. However, I will say that's probably the case with almost all 3 of these languages. So that means that it's null and void and it doesn't really matter. The project setup's easy. So there's no real wins there, I guess is what I'm trying to say, chat. All right, so let's open this up and let's go to the main.py. Okay. Holy, that is, yeah, that's a lot less. You win by using Python. Yeah, no, I mean, that is I wasn't expecting like 10 lines of code as an entry point. Okay. All right, so let's implement what we already have though. Let's not get too overwhelmed though. Oh, you know what? I think Orca uses that, Jono. Yeah. Durenv Nix. There's also Flake support. Is it this one? See, I've even gone to it already. Look, I've already gone to it. Well, I guess it would have shown that because I clicked on it already. But yeah, I've actually already, I have seen. I just haven't set it up yet. Yeah, I need to. Yeah, because of the use Flake thing. Yeah. Oh, it's native in Home Manager. Oh, I didn't know that was. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay, cool. I will have to investigate that further then. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's go to our main, right? And we're actually, no, let's not start with that. Let's start with our component, okay? So for now, we're just going to delete all of this because we don't really need any of this. This we'll keep though. And we're just going to create a new file here and we're going to call it worker.py, right? Because this is our worker definition itself, worker.py. Now we need to figure out how we do components in Python. That's going to be the next thing. So Pulumi component Python. Hold on one second. Sorry, I'm trying to respond to something at work right now. I might have to open up my laptop. I'm trying to remember something, but I can't. I have to write a technical document on... Dang, I have to open up my laptop. Hang on one second. 1 second. Okay, we're good. Okay. Component for your... Oh, thank you, Jono. I appreciate that. Yeah, links in general are the most helpful. Oh, it's just... Of course, it's just an enable option. I'm a dummy. Pulumi component Python. Well, maybe I just need to Google Pulumi. Yeah, I was going to say, maybe I just need to Google Pulumi component Python. Oh, God. That looks slightly painful. Our bucket component, Pulumi component. Oh wait, no, this isn't that bad. Def in itself, name me, policy name, default ops, none. By calling super, we ensure any instantiation of this class inherits from the component resource. This definition ensures that the new component resource acts like anything else in the Pulumi ecosystem being called in the code. Self.nameme, self.policyname, self.bucket, self.policylist. Interesting. Yeah, no, this is, I mean, again, this is why we're testing it, right? So basically they say our bucket class, set policy. I mean, I guess that is kind of nice that you can basically be like, all right, let's create the definition class. And then like, if we need to do things later, we can have like predefined methods. Although again, you can do this in TypeScript. So there's no real difference in value there. Because the classes you create in TypeScript, you could easily just, add to if you wanted. Okay. So our bucket class. So I guess let's do this. Let's create the class. Let's try that. Let's go here. And they've got class. And then we'll say worker, right? Because this is a worker. Pulumi, right? Dot. Yep. Thank you. I've been using I should tell you, chat, that I've been using Copilot. I've been trying it out. But I've only been using it for like the last day. Holy crap, that's nice. Self name ops. Okay. Policy name default and then ops none. So I think we only need technically self name and that's it. I don't think we need yeah, see, this is just like an argument, whereas this is the actual name itself that we want to provide to it. So name is really all we need here. We don't need anything else. And so we want to give the worker event rules and name. So we've already got name. So self dot name equal. Oh wait, whoops. Actually, sorry, I forgot something else. I need the super. Is that right? Kind of. It's kind of right. It's not entirely right, but it's close enough to where I don't have to write the whole thing, and that's pretty dang impressive. Okay, so super init, we need to give it a component name. So copy this. Although actually, it's kind of close. Oh, index worker name none ops. Yeah, that looks pretty right. Okay, and then we have child ops under this. Let's see if oh, thank you for the hydrate. Let's see if Copilot will know the next line I want to write. Thank you for the hydrate. All right, so we need it to be CHILD. Nope, it did not. Ops equals Pulumi dot. Oh. That is right, though. It caught it. That is right. Oh, I love AI. I love AI. It just makes life easier, dude. Okay, so then we need self.name equals name, right? So I guess it has to be, are we basically saying that the way, like, using self is what makes it bound to the component? So like if I just created something in the component, like if I was just like, all right, I want to do AWS dot EC2 instance, for example, and I did not attach it to self, does that mean that this would not be a part of the component versus being like self dot instance equals, you know what I mean? What editor is that? This is NeoVim. Yeah. Oh, dang it. My frigging... my Firefox crashed. Nice. Has it been? Okay. I'm not the only one. All right, cool. Yeah, it's been like super weird. NVim. There you go. Or maybe it's NeoVim. Oh, yeah, there you go. Cool. Okay. So yeah, so I don't even know if we need to do this just yet. I need to like figure out, I guess let's move this back over here. Move this here. So we could add another thing here, I guess, if we wanted to, which is event rules, right? And this is technically the array that we need as well, right? So self dot event rules. I gotta fix that though. You see how when I autocomplete with Copilot, it like shifts it all the way to the left? That's a bug I need to fix. Okay, so let's just go, I guess, directly to the first thing. So we create the dead letter queue first. So let's see what that looks like. So AWS Pulumi queue. Queue. Now this is, oh, here we go. Bam, right here. So import Pulumi AWS is AWS. Okay, import. Okay. All right, Copilot, calm down. So we'll say dead letter queue equals AWS dot, thank you. And I guess this needs to be in self, right? So it's self dot dead letter queue, or what we could technically do, just a queue dead letter, right? So it's the queue, but it's the dead letter queue. So we need to give it a name. resource name. Where do we do the dead letter resource name? Oh, I see it. It's right here. Okay. So what we probably want to do is F, right? That's how you do that, I think. And then you do it like this. Name, right? Yeah. That's how that works. So dash DLQ for dead letter Q, right? And then we can put this here, kind of space that out like that. Actually, no, my bad. That's right. That's how it's like to be done. Content deduplication, we don't have to worry about that. FIFO, we don't have to worry about, but we do want to do a name prefix. So name prefix. And then that is going to be F quirk name. Oh, no, stack. So we have to get the stack. Okay, so how do we get the stack? Pulumi get stack. Pulumi.get stack. Okay. So then we'll say stack equals Pulumi.get stack. Right? And then down here, stack worker name DLQ. Like that. It was not closed. There it is. Oh. There we go. Oops. Okay, so far we have created our dead letter Q. Now, I guess what's kind of interesting is like I could say like Q dead letter name prefix. I think this is valid to have this on its own line. Which means we could do the same formatting here. Right? But then just do Q or yeah, whatever that is after we move this. There we go. Q dead letter prefix. Also, I am using the wrong naming convention. Jeez Louise. Chat, why didn't you say anything? Just realized that Python's all snake case. Is your engine with like CloudFormation templates? No, this is actually Copilot, I think. Real programmers use VS Code? Oh, snap. My bad. Oh, man, I must not be a real programmer because that's what Aiden said. Holy crap. Let me listen to what Aiden said. Oh, hi. Hey. Hi, Trash. What's up? What's up, Aiden? How's it going, buddy? Trash, dude, thank you so much for the 20 months. How are you, my man? Did you raid me as well? You know what's funny? If you did raid me just now, I appreciate that. I guess that makes sense, but like, here's what Twitch gave me. Nan. Gotta love Nan. Hey, Aiden, can you like go fix something? Thanks. Appreciate you. Instead of coming in here and just like busting my balls. That's my extension. Dude, what are you talking about? What extension would that be? I love it how it's always like, it's not my fault, it's yours. Thanks, but no thanks. Oh, is it BTTV? All right, well then never mind. That's not your fault. That's not your problem. I don't blame you. Yeah, exactly. If you use NeoVim, this wouldn't be a problem, dude. I don't know. Yeah, it works on Aiden's machine. You did raid me. What's up, dude? How's it going, Trash? How was your stream, buddy? Shout out to Trash Dev, by the way, if you don't know the wonderful Trash Dev. Fantastic person. Hold on. I like tried to figure out how to do this. There we go. How's your stream, man? Time to get some workies done? Dude, yeah, trust me, I feel you. I got a few hours of workies left. But how have you been, man? You been good? I don't want to keep you, but I hope you've been well. Dude, Knight wrote some wild code. It's happening again, though it's kind of... Wait, what? Just vibing, busy at work. Nice. Trash lick. I like it. Thanks for all the licks, everybody. Chad Dev, what's up, dude? How's it going, buddy? M. Valdez, you've already been here. Never mind. Hello. I've already said hi to Aiden, although he came in here just choosing violence for some reason. Trash, thank you for the 24 or the 20 months, my dude. I appreciate that. Henry, what's up, man? How's it going? X Fluke, what's up, dude? How's it going as well? Lip Lounge, what's up, dude? Oh, I think you've been here, though. What's up, Manny? AWS, how refreshing. I mean, you know. All right. Stupid YAML's schema story ain't working. What? Oh, that sounds terrible. Hi, chat. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. If you guys don't know me, I'm BG. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Alta 4 stream. If you don't know us, you clearly haven't been on Twitch for a while. No, I'm kidding. Lip Lounge, thank you for the Prime sub, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through the raid from Trash's stream. I hope you guys had a good time. I'm a DevOps engineer, basically by trade. I work on a lot of different things here. So if you're curious on what I work on, it's pretty much everything. In some shape or form. Today, I'm writing some automation, and I'm actually writing a technical document because I'm also a massive nerd, and that's how I solve my problems, is through massive technical documents. But today, I am evaluating 3 languages to solve a specific problem, because I don't try and solve every problem with one thing here, okay? That's not what we do here. However, I'm waging the question when writing automation, what language may be the best at scale, right? What language could be the best from a business standpoint, and you know, provide a good interface for automating things. And so we actually asked ChatGPT what it thought, and it gave us some factors. I mean, it gave us some pinpoints as well, but the factors I think were more helpful, which was familiarity, performance, syntax, tooling, and maintenance. Right? These are the 5 things that we kind of all agreed upon here, right? And then we went through them. Now I'm familiar with both. To give you the TLDR, I'm familiar with both, right? And again, this focus is only for automation. We're not talking about writing programs in general or whatever. This is just making automation, making it maintainable, making it scalable, making it user friendly, like all that kind of stuff. I'm familiar with both languages, Go and TypeScript. I've used both heavily for quite some time. So in this category, there's not much of a difference for me there. When we talk about performance, now I do want to be clear. All of these results and all of these like outcomes have been agreed upon before all of your ass got here. Okay, so before you start saying "whoa," just realize that this has been crowdsourced before you got here. So yeah, the next one was performance. And again, with regards to like automation, performance really isn't a big thing. Like you just really want to commit some code, push it up and forget about it, right? However, when you like try and be as technical as possible, Go does outperform TypeScript in here simply because it compiles once and then you can just rerun it, right? Unless you first transpile and then run it with Node, right? Or something that just runs JavaScript. You have to transpile, or what is called transpile. And so it doesn't matter if there's a change there or not, that transpilation process has to happen. And so Go, because it basically compiles to a binary as well and is very fast, outperforms. But again, this is marginal. It doesn't really matter because most of all of this is going to be done in automation anyways. Syntax. Now, again, the real focus here was around ease of readability and writing code. Right. And this is at scale. So hundreds of people, or at least tons of developers trying to manage the same repository, and all of that kind of thing. So when we talk about TypeScript, we put 2 things side by side. We put TypeScript, an example of TypeScript automation, and Go automation side by side. And the general consensus was that TypeScript is easier to write if you're familiar with it, right? And just generally requires less to write. Right, for readability, TypeScript is normally a bit easier, right? Just because of the less verbosity that's required in writing it. Now, Go is easier to write if you're familiar with C and other languages like that, and it requires a bit more verbosity, which also requires more individual pieces to build. TypeScript being a class-based language, it can kind of move everything around pretty easily, whereas with Go, you're really, everything's a function, right? So that's pretty much that. Did you write the Python example yet? Stupak, we're actually writing it right now, but we got rated, so I'm kind of updating everybody from Trash's stream on what we're doing. Tooling, Go has really strong testing support, as well as other tools like profiling, benchmarking, etc. Right? The Go module system is well matured and provides good support for developers, right? TypeScript falls a bit short with strictness around testing, and because of that, it kind of falls short a bit in the testing category in general. It's a little less I would say a little less not maintainable, but like, I don't know, less challenging. There we go. Less challenging than TypeScript actually can be when writing tests. I think Go would probably be easier to write tests in than TypeScript overall. When we talk about the module system compared to Go, they're kind of close. Go's module system is good, don't get me wrong. And honestly, NPM is not bad. It's just like cluster with like tons of terrible packages. That's the real problem with NPM, is like there's no strict standardization around it, or benefits that really makes it so that everyone is always benefiting from it. It's just like tons of random stuff that you can just pick from. So I think in this regard, tooling, at least again, and this was all crowdsourced, right? Tooling, Go was probably going to be the winner here. Aren't types helping you not jump too much away from an IDE in case of Python? What do you mean by that, Whisper? Sorry. I thought you were using Linux. I am using Linux. I'm using a VM. When we talk about maintenance, now maintenance, I would say, is circumstantial before we go too far, right? But we're really talking about ease of developer use and support, right? Again, this is something that's going to be iterated over a lot. A lot of people are going to be touching it. Right? How easy is it for us to automate with this language, or this specific, how we chose to go the route we chose? So TypeScript being a bit more loose with control allows for quicker changes and faster iteration cycles. Trade-off is more things break more often. And I think that's a pretty fair argument about most of what's created in TypeScript in general. But there's also a real big benefit to that, which is that you get stuff out the door quicker, right? You might be able to build something just faster in TypeScript, or even like, again, Python or languages like that, because they're scripting based. However, you're probably going to iterate over them more. You're going to have more bugs potentially and things like that. Go has better structures for long-term support. However, this requires more developer man hours to support, right? The trade-off is things basically break less often. However, you are spending a bit more time, whether it's just being pure lines of code or logic, making sure it's idiomatic, it's something that's going to be good and performant. Go will require a bit more of that. So the conclusion that we basically had is that, and this is where I really tried to put on my hat and like really try and have an unbiased perspective here, which was being able to change things quicker and faster can be more valuable in DevOps than more time invested upfront every time a solution is required, right? I think that's a true statement, because in DevOps especially, move fast is very common, right? From a business standpoint, we get things out faster, right? They may not be perfect, but we are ready to iterate over it, right? From a technical standpoint, we break things more often. However, we have a lower requirement for problem solving normally, right? At least with automation, one would hope you're dealing more with like intricacies of Pulumi or like connections to Amazon or things like that, and less about like what the code requires. And I think that was the big difference here is like, with standardization and strictness that Go has, it does require a bit more of maintainability. It does require you to take a bit more steps to get to where you want to. You break things less often, but it does require a bit more of that upfront, solution. However, like I said, from a business standpoint of wanting to get things out the door quicker, if every time it takes you to make a change is 5 minutes versus 2 minutes, right? There's a 50% increase there of possibility that you could have. So that's the only argument we're really having and putting here from a technical standpoint is like, which do you prefer, right? So, even with all of this being said, even though TypeScript, and Go are pretty much equally set here, there was a third candidate that did not get brought up until basically, towards the end of this, and that is Python. If you guys have ever used multiple languages before, right, and you've used Python, you're probably aware that it is a very straightforward and simple language in a lot of ways, right? It's basically pseudocode. At least that's what I think of Python to be. And Pulumi does allow you to write automation in Python. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to take that and try it and see, okay, cool. Let's put Python to the test of these same and see if it ranks any better, any worse. Does it matter at all? Or does it really just come down at the same, at the end of the day to whatever you want, And that's a very fine argument and a very fine solution is whatever you want. That's more than, again, these margins that we're even comparing here are so small that you'd have to be at a very large scale for these things to really matter. Also, if you're writing automation for yourself, none of this matters. You just write it whatever the you want to write it in, man. Like, seriously. Are you writing Pulumi code for infra deployment? Yeah, you mean for like infrastructure resources and stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on every line. Yeah, every time I have to tab fix. Yeah, that's fair. Q dead letter. And so what we're doing now is we are setting up the Python equivalent code for that to see what like that looks like for us. You know what I mean? What version of Python am I using? Oh, I don't know. 3.10. Yeah. Is there an op? Yeah, just do exclamation mark keyboard. There you go. Okay, so we need to add this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push this down here. Push this over. Oops. Like this. Q U E, geez. Dead letter name prefix. Now, actually, what's kind of interesting is I don't know what happened there, but it felt like my completion died. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. And is this input string or none? Yeah, okay, cool. So I guess here's a question is so we're going to look at an SQSQ. So for Python, it's literally just Q, boom, boom. Oh geez, let's go all the way down to inputs. Okay, so dead letter Q, let's see, name, prefix, yep, name, prefix, okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Q, dead letter Q, name, prefix. Okay, cool. And so that's, wow. That's all we need for the dead letter Q. Yeah, that's not a lot. And to be fair, if we really wanted to, we don't even need this now that I really look at it. Like, this is basically the same length as the variable name itself, and we only use it here. So it's completely fine just to use this here. So now we just have this again. Jeez. That's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, like, this is a little like, what? This is a little bit, Python-y, I should say. But like, yeah, that's not that bad. All right, let's keep moving forward. Okay, so we've got our dead letter Q. We've completely gotten rid of the need of this name prefix and this because we just pass it as an arg directly. Like, this is a Python thing, we're just passing this as a direct arg, Resource name we didn't need to do because we can change it. We can literally do it right here. right? There's no need for like, I need to declare a variable to use it. Python, I mean, and again, we don't have to do this, I guess, but like we have to at least calculate this, right? This has to be calculated using format library, right? This has to be done. Whereas like what we're saying here is because Python is just, again, it's just pseudocode, man. It's just pseudocode. Like you could just do things like this, you know, do boop, boop, really easily. So, I mean, again, we're only on line 17, whereas in here, we're on line 57. No, 61. Yeah, 61. Wow. Okay. So this one's going to be a little bit different because now what we want to do is we want to say q args equals, or how do we want to do this? Redrive policy. Okay, so I think that's what we need to do here. Is we need to say redrive policy equals none by default. We'll make it basically be none. So there's no redrive policy. However, if no. Oh god, dude, I haven't written an if statement in Python in so long. It's just like that. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. So this. So if rules, what is it? Is it length? Is length an actual? It is, yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Length greater than 0. Yep. Thank you. Oh my god. I really have to fix that. Okay, do you know what's actually mine? It wrote this for me. I just realized what it just did. I actually just, do you guys realize it just wrote the whole thing for me? I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, it just wrote the whole thing for me. Wow. Wow. Okay. We'll set the max recount to 5 for right now. Yeah. Brostein, thank you for the follow. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted, chat. Okay, so we do need to stringify this, right? So I guess can I don't know if this works with can I do something like this where I can say like stringify redrive policy? Is that right? Please tell me that's right. Is that right? Somebody who knows Python better than me, is that right? If that's right, holy crap. No, not that. I meant like, is the thing right? Sorry. We don't need this though. Yeah, I was about to say that's not needed. I'm just wondering. Okay, hold on. So Python stringify JSON. I think it is dumps. I just don't. Yeah, it is dumps. Holy crap. It is dumps. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty dope. Although I'm wondering why it's not. Do I need? Oh yeah, I was like, I need the library, don't I? Import. Yeah, there it goes. Oh wow. So okay, and again, here's another thing that's really interesting is look at this. This is like all of this code here is required to do what we did right here. this should give you an idea of what we talk about when we talk about verbosity, right? And time spent just like I said, in DevOps, you want to move fast, right? And if I can create a whole scalable cluster, with a few lines of code, it's pretty powerful. Now, again, abstractions, things like that can help, but like still at the core, just comparison, like it is interesting to see. Again, just the slight difference, It's not massive, but when we're looking at it, at scale, it might be more than we think. Well, no. We're not talking about Copilot writing it. We're just talking about in general, like the difference in managing automation with Pulumi or Python versus managing it with Go. And again, we're just talking about automation. Okay, so now I should be able to do self.q equals, and then look at that. It's already, I really need to fix that. Oh, it's so frustrating. Okay, so self.q, AWS q, f, right? And then, actually, this is just name, right? We don't even need to worry about that. This is also name. Yep. And then we need to give it, I think we also give it, in terms of simplicity. Yeah, Brostein, I appreciate you saying that, man. Like, seriously, people who, you guys who are, investigating this with me and stuff like that. Like, I really do appreciate the I mean, I understand some are just watching. That's totally fine. I'm not expecting our participation on, audience participation. I'm just saying, for those who are, like, I appreciate it. Because, yeah, no, oh, man, I hate to say it, dude, but, like, yeah, simplicity is really nice here. Like, it's, like, even TypeScript, I can see things that, like, I would have kind of jumbled around probably a bit more, whereas, like, because Python even is just, like, everything's parameter-based, right? Like, that's actually really nice, too, Yeah. Okay, and so what we want to do is redrive policy equals redrive policy. That's right. And we need the name prefix. Oh, dude, thank you. Oh, I love it. It literally wrote it for me. Oh, that's so nice. Although, again, I will fix this by next stream so that it's not doing that anymore. But yeah, like, look at, like, the simplicity here, dude, is so nice. It really is super nice. Yeah. I'm okay, so I'm not gonna go too much further. 34. Dude, yeah, so 34 lines of code in Python. And this level of, like, simplicity, you know what I mean? Versus 98 lines of code in Go. And, like, again, much more verbosity. Like chat, look at the two side by side. Here, hold on. I'll give you the full effect. Hold on. There you go. That is a side by side. You can't even see the full component because it goes down. All right, so here we go, chat. I'm going to poll. All right, so we're going to do readability. Which of the two do you prefer for readability? Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think I might agree with you, chat. Shouldn't try catch be everywhere. You're not wrong there, Sten. There's definitely, like, error handling we're not doing here. However, we're just following the, like, again, just the bare need. Like, in Go, it's required. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the comparison we're really doing here. Is, like, in Go, it's required. Versus in Python, it's not. Listen, I don't disagree that Go. Okay, and let me say this. Let me say this for all of the Go lovers out there, because I'm a Go lover too, guys. Like, come on, don't take that away from me. All right, I've written a lot of Go on this stream. I think you just have to read more, man. And I think that's the part that, looking at the two, it's, it is that it's a bit more. I don't know if that's good or not. Like I said, I'm still evaluating that myself, but I don't know. There is something even very nice about, like, here, like this, right? Versus even, like, let's go back to here and let's look at this. Like, now we're going to put the Python next to the TypeScript. And, like, I would even say that, yeah, I mean, I would say the Python's a bit, well, I did like, well, I don't know. I mean, these would probably be almost very similar. I don't know if there's much of a difference here, except for we're not doing as much object work, right? Python. Okay. I don't necessarily, I don't disagree with you, chat, is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I don't get the hate that Python gets. Last place I was team at, spent 6 months refactoring data Python for Python because it was assigned a new PM who didn't know Python and thought it was lame. Well, that's stupid. Yeah, I'm sorry. That sucks. That definitely sucks. That definitely sucks. Yeah, I don't think, like, honestly, I don't think it's too... I think the big difference here that I'm very interested in, and Chad, I think, you guys might agree with me here, is the self thing. Because the self thing is intrinsically different to how we assign components. Because in both Go and TypeScript, we do a parent thing. Whereas if you look in their example for components, there's no, like, parent here. It's all just going through self. And so I'm wondering if that paradigm is, like, a good thing, right? Because if you think about it, then you are becoming much more considerate of, like, what you're actually applying to the scope of the component versus, like why would I do redrive policy? I mean, I guess I could do self redrive, like, you know what I mean? But, like, do you need to? Should I? Right? Like, should everything be in self? Like, those are kind of the questions I'm asking myself right now. Yeah, the init style, yeah. I do have my init config somewhere, yeah. If you do !dot files in chat, there's actually 2 links you're going to see. The first link is to my video that I made on how to automate your dot files. And then the second one is to, 3 links, is to my old dot files. Now, my old dot files, I no longer maintain. You'll see the last time I updated this was on May 29th, 2022. The reason for that is because I actually not too long ago switched from this whole setup to Nix. I use Nix now. Yeah. And so I think this is a fantastic solution to automating your setup, especially if you don't want to learn Nix, which is a lot of people don't want to do that. This basically uses Ansible, and, like, it's a really good structure of how I maintain it and set it all up. If you want to see my current dot files, all you have to do is go to .files.nixos or -nixos. And that is my current dot files. Now, I'm going to be making a video on this too. So you should also subscribe to the YouTube. But in the meantime, I've been slowly trying to, like, create documentation on it and stuff like that. But if you want to see my NeoVim config in my current dot files, you go to config, nvim, and then this is all the Lua stuff. So if you're just curious about that and none of what I just said, there you go. Did you manage secrets in a Nix file with Ansible dot files? No, I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't. There's a new Nix installer. What do you mean? Determinate Nix installer. Oh, well, I'll take a look at it. Nice. Oh, cool. Whisper, no. I didn't. I just don't put secrets in, like, any of that anymore. And I use Doppler. Like, I guess I did solve it, but I solved it with Doppler. Shout out to Doppler. So yeah, chat, like, looking at what we've just written, all three are well known in long-term experience. I would say Go still probably outperforms TypeScript, or outperforms TypeScript, and I would say it also still outperforms Python, but I would say Python naturally interprets, God, I can't spell. Is that how you spell that? Interpreter. Is interpret a word? I don't think that naturally runs. We'll just say runs the interpreter when a file is executed. Executed meaning no additional transpile overhead. Now it does technically, still transpile in some form, doesn't require superset, right? That's the main difference here. Is like, I think Python probably runs naturally faster than transpiling from TypeScript to to Node. You know what I'm saying? So I think, but again, I still think that in this case, it doesn't really matter, really. I don't think it really matters here at all. I think, again, performance is just not that big of a deal. Syntax, I'm going to give it to Python. Python is easier to write, right? If you are new to programming or just starting, like that's just a massive knowledge. Everybody in engineering knows that Python is really a great place to start. I think if it's easier, right, if you're newer to programming or just starting at a company and need to quickly make changes, right? I think no matter what, if you are new to programming or just starting at a company and need to quickly make changes, I think Python, I think JavaScript, I think TypeScript is right underneath this, but I think across the board Python's going to outperform TypeScript is with this for sure. I also think the readability is also, the same thing. I think Python's going to be readability over TypeScript's going to be better. I definitely think that contribution is going to be higher too. Tooling. We didn't really get into tooling much. So I would almost say that maybe this is similar, where Python has similar tooling to Go and TypeScript, with its own challenges, the biggest being virtual env, right? So I'm going to put Python between TypeScript and Go on this one. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I would say TypeScript is probably better, just because virtual env really does suck. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's a challenge. But again, I think these are all super marginal. I really do. And maintenance, I think Python stands out the most in maintainability and for long term, just due to its simplicity as well as knowledge shared. Like, a lot of people basically, like, you can do pretty much anything in Python, man. Like, it's and we'll say, like, shared knowledge, I guess. Shared knowledge is, what I mean to say. Like, I think Python just hands down going to be the easiest thing to maintain out of all of these, as well as simplicity. Is it going to be better, right, in the sense of, like, quality and things like that? I think that is maybe we'll add, like, it does require good standards and practices. However, I would say that that's important. I think Python out of the three of these could very much fly off the rails if you did not know what you were doing. So again, that's why like the self thing, for example, I'd really like to know what that is and where the difference is there, and like when I feel like I would need to use self versus like, again, like should everything be self? You know what I mean? Yo, Hype Train. Oh, guys, thank you so much. Zetionic, thank you for the Prime. Jono, thank you for the Prime as well. The 2 months, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, hey, that's up to you, chat. Okay, so maintenance. Yeah, I definitely think that Python probably stands out the highest here. But again, it ranked low in some of these, right? So let's go back through this one last time. So Go, we got for performance, but just marginally. You know, again, performance really isn't that big of a deal, right? Without self is assigning to the object instance without self is assigning to the class. Right. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, so Brostein, just to be clear, I'm just trying to determine, like, why does it make it a parent here? You know what I mean? I sorry, I'm just curious about like the parent structure here. That's all. So we got Go, Python, TypeScript. Again, performance Go, syntax Python, Go, Python. So it looks like if you want the absolute best of, or not absolute best, but the absolute, like, you know, kind of like best of all worlds, I should say, it seems like Python is going to be your best choice from just what we've seen so far. You get good tooling, you get really nice, easily usable syntax and maintainable syntax, right? You lose a bit on performance, which is not that big of a deal. However, you gain a lot in maintainability, right? It's going to be something that's going to be around for a while. A lot of experience with Python's already out there, as well as support. But you will run into a little bit of an issue with like virtual env potentially and things like that, right? If you don't want to use Python, then TypeScript is probably going to be a good alternative for you, right? It's going to have a lot of the similarities to Python. You get typing as well, which is nice, a little bit step towards that strictness, right? But you're going to, even like just stepping out of Python, you're going to lose a bit of that like readability, and you're going to lose a little bit of that maintainability as well, right? Because again, it's a little bit more class oriented. It's a little bit more, you know, type oriented and things like that. Go is just if you want to be as in control of everything as you possibly can, right? You want to be in control of how it compiles, how types are set. Every single part of it. Go is really, you know, really good testing, right? Like Go is basically if you want the most perfect solution possible, more than likely. However, there will be a massive trade-off of really more than likely in that scenario, time. Yeah, that's going to be the biggest trade-off. Is there will be more time spent into developing it to make sure that it's built properly, and there will be more time supporting it and making sure that it's built the right time the first time. Controls everything. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but anyways, chat, I think I'm gonna call it here. I think that was a more than a good stream. That was a 4-hour session. I got a lot of knowledge here. I'm excited about taking away what I've got here. I do think that I am gonna evaluate Python a little bit more now that I've, you know, been able to walk through this with you guys and really kind of get a better understanding of what, you know, even my opinions on it are. Never thought I would say that I would use Python for Pulumi automation, but yeah, I mean, if it makes sense, it makes sense. You know what I mean, chat? So thank you guys again so much for hanging out with me today. Again, if you are new to the channel, please be sure to check out that little blurb right there. Variety channel hosted by myself, BG, as well as my good friend Atoda. Is this notion shared? So Zentionic, I'm going to be real with you. We have a website right now, and I guess I'll share this with you first, called the Wiki, Alta4 Wiki. If you go to it, you will find a bunch of documents that we used to share in the past, and this has not been updated in a while. However, in my documents here, I have tons of documents that I'm getting ready to share with you guys. The problem is that I want to rebuild this. I want to rebuild it into something that's much nicer so that you guys have access to these documents much quicker, because I write everything in Notion. So I'm trying to figure out how to get from Notion to, what's it called? You know what I mean? To you guys, basically. What I will say is that be sure to also check out our Discord. Again, outside of being a variety channel and streaming multiple times a week, we also have a fantastic community. We have in our Discord also, which is something I want to empower you guys to use, we have a server roles section. So if you want to get messages about the wiki, this will never change, whether we rename it, whatever, this role will never change. Subscribe to this role. If you want LSP containers updates, if you want Quirks updates, TwitchCon updates, Twitter updates, all that kind of stuff. The Discord is a multi-purpose tool. We try and make it, helpful for everybody. But yeah, that will, I'm working on getting more of these documents out. So Bong Beers, anyone else who's interested in them, give me a little bit of time, and if you need it sooner, just reach out to me over Discord. Like, honestly, if you're like, I want to use this at my company, I will credit you, please. Or you don't have to, of course not, but at least say that you worked with somebody with this. But yeah, I just don't want you to take not full credit. That's not what I'm trying to say. I don't know how this would work if you just brought this to a company. So I don't necessarily want to put you under fire is more what I'm trying to say. Don't use it as you say you found it on the internet, I guess is more what I'm trying to say. Because you might have somebody read it and then be like, this guy's, this is an idiot. Who would write this? And yeah, I don't care if they say that, but anyways. Yeah, if you need something like that this sooner, again, hit me up on the Discord. Let me know. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to both of the YouTube channels. I will be getting content on the new channel here soon. My big focus right now really is getting the other channel, which is our archives, updated daily so that you guys are getting new VODs daily. That's why we're building everything we're building right now. That's why we're asking a lot of the questions that we are. And so once this is fully running, I'm going to start posting, not posting, but basically finishing and uploading VODs to the other channel. I really want the VODs channel to just be off the ground, on its own, and just running, and so I don't have to think about it. And that's been something that's been laying over my head for a while now. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to both the YouTube channels and be sure to follow us on Twitter. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it here. Thank you guys so much again for hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Jono, for the compliment. I appreciate you guys for the compliments, the subs, the gifted subs, all in winter, dude. Thank you so much, man. Again, everybody, thank you guys. The raid from Trash as well, dude. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Let's see who we can raid. Let's see what are they up to. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to find somebody for us to raid really quickly here. All right, so I kind of want to raid. Well, I don't know what they're up to. Yeah, they're not really programming, though. Let me see if I can find somebody who's programming for us. Oh. We could go raid InstaFluff. Let's go say hi to InstaFluff. If you guys don't know who InstaFluff is, he's actually a longtime programmer, really cool guy, really cool streamer. Let's go say hi to him. Let's go give InstaFluff some love. I don't think they've been streaming in a while, so let's go make their day. But guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Again, remember, we stream Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. You'll get to hang out with me Monday mornings. Get to hang out with me again Wednesday nights, Atoda Thursday nights, me Monday mornings, and then Atoda Saturday mornings. Meaning tomorrow, I hope to see you for another Alta 4 stream. All right, guys, have a good one. I hit the wrong button. There we go. Hold on. Oh, my God. I am just messing this up entirely. Hold on. Oh, you can't even see me. You couldn't even see me. I forgot you couldn't even see me. Okay, goodbye. I love you guys. Jeez, you guys should have told me. I forgot you guys couldn't even see me. Okay, bye. Enjoy the raid. Bye.